I can feel the mountains tower over me. Their dusky shadows stretch to touch an azure sea. Though the soil is parched and hot beneath my feet, no other place I wish to be. I want for nothing else. Why do I need a fine wine when I have my tequila? When I'm curled up with my saucy señorita, no other place I wish to be. Oi, 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 follow me. Why make work when you can play? Oi, 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 follow me and celebrate another day. Forget the past, forget tomorrow. Forget your pain, forget your sorrow. Forget all else that will not let you see. No other place you wish to be. I can feel the mountains tower over me. Their dusky shadows stretch to touch an azure sea. Though the soil is parched and hot beneath my feet, no other place I wish to be. I want for nothing else. Why do I need a fine wine when I have my tequila? When I'm curled up with my salty señorita, no other place I wish to be. No other place I wish to be. No other place I wish to be.
Good morning, gamers.
Good morning.
This is day 3 of the Big Deal 4. We have our top 6 for Pump It Up playing today.
Very, very intense top 6 category of contestants.
Yes, I am Zelo, and with me right now.
Hi, Tusa.
yeah.
Happy to join you. Filling in for a little bit as we get started here.
Yeah, so it's going to be great. We're happy to see all of y'all in chat. And
Thanks for
thankfully,
tuning in.
yes, very much appreciated. Big shout out to our other commentator coming in soon, Dusk. He provided a much better hotspot for us to use. So hopefully we won't see the tech issues that we saw yesterday.
Shout out to Dust. Shout out also to Red Note Arcade, Mosaic Paw Print Store,
Yes.
sponsoring the event, keeping us on our toes and making sure that we can have this beautiful event for you guys.
Speaking of letting us have this beautiful event, big shout out to Round 1 Grapevine
Yes.
for hosting us again.
Yes.
It's been a fun event. It's been a very tiring event, but it's been very fun. So
Yes.
anyways, we're going to take you through a quick roadmap right here. So we left off with our top 6. Our top 6 right now are HDS, J-Boy, Kaze, and Matt Miller in the winners bracket. And we have 2 people in losers right now that climbed out, Tomato and Drake. So that's your top 6 right here. So HDS and J-Boy are going to be going first.
Yeah, and a little bit of idea of where we are on the tourney, right? It's winner semis and loser semis, and we're at the point where they're doing 24s and 25s, and they're doing best 3 out of 5. So there's going to be a lot of playing to be had today, and a lot of really dicey sets as we move forward for the day. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for those of you who woke up nice and early at 11 a.m. Central Time for this event.
So, we'll give you a quick rundown. So we're going to basically do a double elimination until we get to a top 4, and then the grand finals is going to be kind of a top 4 round robin.
Right, right.
So I've got J-Boy warming up on 1 cab right now. He looks somewhat shocked at something. I can't tell from here. But we will have everybody up in just a few minutes.
Yeah, so as of now, the only update of how the bracket is progressing is that we have the card draw for HDS versus J-Boy. And they did the round of card draw, so 9 charts were drawn. And they went through a round of protects, and then a round of vetoes, and then their final protects, and then final veto.
Yeah, so their final set coming up, like their set for winner semis is we got Skeptic D25.
Nice way to start things off.
Hyacinth D24, Shub Sathoth S25, Armageddon D24, and Cleaner D25. Now I bet you, I mentioned yesterday that J-Boy does not have like consistent access to Phoenix, so he probably wanted to veto charts that were Phoenix related.
Right,
And
so
probably stick to things he knows.
He did veto Rip, and Edison vetoed Irelia. But the Rip, I think, was a call-out primarily for Phoenix on vetoing.
Yeah, that's actually one of the easier 24s, I think. But if you're not familiar with it, you can get twisted around. So I don't blame him for vetoing that.
Yeah, and HDS, I generally, if you've seen its run form in person, it just looks very fluid and solid. And it's just a chart that has such a crazy end run.
Yeah, worth noting that Irelia was only the D24. So HDS probably vetoed that base.
Only the D24.
Hey, if against J-Boy, J-Boy probably would have felt pretty comfy on it since it is just a bunch of running and not super hard running. HDS probably wanted something harder to do.
Yeah, that sounds like. I think during the card draw, he was kind of shaking his head. He was like, "Why aren't there more 25s, 26s in this one?" A very classic move. Very classic move. So yeah, they're just getting their warm-ups in right now. We'll put them on screen shortly.
Interestingly enough, the other two things that were vetoed out of the card draw were error code S25 by J-Boy, which is understandable. He'd rather take doubles over singles.
Yeah.
And Origami D24, which
Yeah.
HDS vetoed, and probably just, like I said, with Aurelia, wants something harder work to make him work, because Origami, the D26 would have actually been a good pick, but the D24 is pretty straightforward and easy, and he felt like he probably would have not been able to.
Yeah, it would
give
come
him a good
down to
match
just maybe grades or maybe a miss there or here. I know error code, at least from what I overheard, I believe J-Boy said against anybody else that's not Edison, he would not be vetoing error code, but he knows he's familiar with Edison's footwork and his strengths and weaknesses and opted to veto error code S25.
Yeah, error code is so nasty just because no matter which strats you do, you're dealing with 200 BPM like turns everywhere and a bunch of 30-second bursts at the very end that you need to bracket or just plain somehow straight up do. So no matter what strat, no matter what strat you take, it's always going to feel like kind of a crapshoot unless you really lock in. And J-Boy's probably not wanted to try and risk that.
Not first thing in the morning, that's for sure. I think Skeptic D25 is going to be interesting to see, but thankfully the players we're here nice and early so that all the competitors can kind of get their warm-ups in. Obviously playing it cold would be much, much harder.
So we're going to watch Edison. It looks like
He's thinking
HDS
about
is
it.
going to get started here with Skeptic.
Yeah. So this is winner semis. HDS versus J-Boy. And setting his AB to 636.
So best of luck to him.
Best
So
of luck.
this being a Doan song, as is the case with all Doan songs at like around this BPM, they're all really hard. And Skeptic is no difference on that.
Yeah, at this difficulty, you're definitely going to see a lot of runs integrated with brackets.
This is stumbling a little bit at the beginning on that first drill, only getting just a little bit of stuff, but every little bit's going to count getting into the ending because you want as much leeway in order to hit this ending. The ending of this is very much 25 material.
Yeah, these are considered, I guess, like the easy parts of the chart, and they're the freebie points.
Now the hard part is that Skeptic is a little bit late on the sync, so you do need to be wary of like making sure your timing's late, not just to avoid grades, but also to make sure you're not dropping any holds, especially in this hold section coming up.
Looking good so far.
These patterns are so cool. They're so fun to do.
Yeah.
And the thing about Windforce's charts, when he starts Doan songs, he does a lot of build-up. He'll have an idea, and then he'll expand on it over and over and over.
Very
now,
iterative process makes for charts that are really, really fascinating to play.
Yep, and now we have more brackets incoming here with the, in between these mini runs. HDS doing a really great job holding those down. Now we've got a
Crucial
long,
part here.
big 8-measure run right here. Almost managed to get the stairs, falling off a little bit, but still managed to hit.
Very, very, very clear.
Yeah, that
In
ending
the
run
clear.
is brutal.
You see a little bit of hopping, trying to just find his way through the chart and make sure he's taking as many notes as possible.
Being very careful not to drop these holds at the very end as he closes out. Good finish.
Yeah, that's a great way to start your set. But I can tell he wanted to push harder on some of those run patterns, but after that big staircase, when he was hopping over to the left side, just couldn't quite find exactly where he wanted to be.
Right. Jibbo can definitely catch up to that 978 right there, but definitely have to minimize the misses and still maintain some level of accuracy during the hard parts.
Yeah, we have to remind ourselves this is a 978 on a D25 first thing in the morning just to start off your set. In tournament play where, you know, there's some variables that may be outside of your control. So to just kind of wake up, stretch your shoulders and say, time to play Skeptic D25. 978. Best of luck to J-Boy.
Yes, best of luck.
Very excited to see if he's able to pick up all of these easy bits in the start that Edison left on the table. But most importantly, if he can just hang on for that end run. Hopping straight into it.
It's funny we have like two of our most experienced players just going up first thing in the morning. Like, they've both been around a pretty long time. Like HGS has been playing a pretty long time as well, even before he came to the US. So he has plenty of experience. And J-Boy, definitely one of the known OGs of the pump community and still kicking it hard. Nice.
Excellent, perfects going
clean
through
start
the
right
first
there, but gets with a sloppy bad.
Sloppy bat's fine. I believe Edison had a good chain on the first drill.
This might be like one of the times where combo will actually matter a little bit, like max combo will, because those max combo points might be the difference maker. And J-Boy's really struggling to get his combo back up. So if he wants to get his combo back up before the inning, he's going to have to chain everything all the way up to the 8-measure run.
That juicy 0.5% weight.
Like I said, you need to make sure you stay very late on these holds so you're not dropping the tail ends of them. It can be very deceptive. Oh, cuts that bad. So he's not going to be able to get any more max combo at this point. So now it's going to come all down to accuracy and not missing. And J-Boy's struggling a little bit here.
There were some points left on the table after the big stare.
I think he's just trying to live at this point. It's not.
Yeah, live,
it's
live,
tough.
live.
So he's gonna finish that out right there. But yeah, playing this thing like early on with little warm up, it's tough.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
That was his protect of the pool, though.
So yeah, J-Boy's in kind of a rough spot now. We're getting only a 9.48. So HGS is gonna take that first song right there.
Incredible score still, by the way.
Yeah, remember that this is a best of 5. So we still got at least 2 more songs to go.
Yeah, next is going to be Hyacinth D24, which was HDS's protect.
I'm glad this was re-rated in XX because it being a 23, many things in Prime 1
shocking.
being 23 really needed that uprate to 24 like this.
That is
Robot Battle.
Robot Battle was
Yogg-Sothoth.
23.
Yes, Yogg-Sothoth was 23. Yes, all of those were rated lower than Windmill. So
Okay.
this being uprated to 24 was definitely in a much better
Windmill
spot.
was 24 that got downrated to
Yeah.
23, I see.
Windmill was the first chart of its time with those rolling brackets, so we can kind of
okay.
understand that. But
Well,
that kind of
skew
thing,
notes.
that thing has become so common now that it's just like execution-wise, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Just time it. Just time it.
So Hyacinth coming up. There's going to be a lot of interesting
I-
running at the end.
I'm so shocked that this was 23.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's not just run heavy too. It's also very bracket heavy.
Yeah, bracket heavy in the first 2/3, and then center 6 running into big cross pass movements.
Yeah.
That's what I recall. Deceptively, I guess, tiring in the first 2/3. I guess if your bracket form is really solid, if you're able to manage your foot weight and balance well, can save some energy. Maybe this is the rest. But going into the ending, look at that 991 best score.
Yeah,
by
getting a
HGS.
triple S on Phoenix, that's definitely an accomplishment. This ending is absolutely brutal and runs you over if you are not ready for it. This is definitely one of the most interesting Prime 1 charts in the higher range. HGS having no problems with these little bracket stretches at the very beginning. Now the gimmicks were removed out of this chart, so it's a little easier getting into these runs. You don't have to psych yourself out waiting for them. That being said, the patterns are a little twisty, and you do have to watch your footwork because it's very easy to overtap on the center. HGS having no problem hitting all these patterns without getting any stray goods or bads.
It's almost like playing a jack because you have to do the run into the bracket jump.
These bracket jumps are also really cool how they turn you back and forth.
Yeah.
But so far, I think we have a perfect game going right here. I haven't seen any mistakes at all.
He protected it for a reason.
There's the bad, but But still looking really clean right here. Yeah, he's not having any problem with these little mini runs. I can't overstate like how difficult it is to hit those consistently without over triggering. His footwork is just amazing.
Yeah. The stability and I guess just, of course, timing, as you can see on the screen.
Now, speaking of timing, this is also another very late sync song, and it's going to be definitely a factor here, getting into these bursts after these brackets, and then to a full straight run of about 10 measures or so. This is one of the most brutal parts in Prime 1. Long middle full run, and then it whips you to each side with stairs. Overall looking very solid, finishing out strong.
The backside crossover on player 2 side is just nasty to run over to player 1, but so many cross-pad swings, a 981 in tourney setting.
Yeah, 981 is very solid. Like I said, if you are not ready for that end run, it runs you over. Even if you are ready for the end run, it runs you over.
I had forgotten that there was the cross-pads, or I guess the cross-pad sliding right and left before the center 4 twisting.
It's so much movement.
Into more cross-pad running with higher intensity. Backside player 2 crossover into crazy forward crossovers on both player 1 and player 2. Big ask and a very impressive 981 by HGS. So just as a reminder for those of you tuning in and joining us, we're in winner's semi right now, doing a best 3 out of 5 between HDS and J-Boy. Later we're going to see Kaze and Matt Miller on the winner's side, and hanging on, clutching, and in the trenches in loser semis is Tomatonium and I'm Drake. So we have our 6 contestants, and they're going to vie for their spots in a top 4 round robin. We're very excited to see it. Yeah, right now the players are getting into J-Boy's finishing up the second of the 5, highest in D24, after Edison is up 1-0. HDS is up 1-0. Best of luck to J-Boy.
Yeah, J-Boy really wants to get that spot now, but if he ends up dropping to lose, he does at least have the second chance, but he would probably rather not try to have to risk playing another set just to get into the grand finals.
Right. The tricky part about going second, I mean, he's looking at this knowing how solid the beginning was for HDS. So, with that in mind, if things go sour, do you continue with the rest of the chart, or do you save it for the third and remainder of the set?
It's actually very funny you said that, because when we were playing together at USPF 2014, and he knew I was really ahead on 2X, he ended up actually walking off to save energy. So that can be a strat.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think he probably wants to try and push it. And he would maybe play a little bit more just to stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm at the very least.
He's been hitting a few straight bads, but nothing too bad so far.
Right.
But it's really going to come down to this last run if he can get less misses. But it's such a difficult run, and I'm not sure if he's used to the pads yet, because he hasn't had too much time to play since he pretty much immediately jumped into top 6. So coming into this last run right here, he's got to maintain good accuracy while still getting less misses here. He's actually doing a great job with his middle 4.
Excellent job.
He's running it hard.
Big stare.
Oh, really struggling at the very end, though.
Slides off a little bit too much, going to player 2.
Yeah, was looking really good, and I think he just gassed out. So with a 967, HGS going to take song number 2, so he's up 2-0.
Yeah, I was trying to keep track. Like the grade count of 20 is still very impressive. So watching the greats and goods kind of stack up towards the end, but yeah, you can see a little bit of the impact of how the first half of this chart went. Overall, very solid start to that run. But it looks like HDS is up 2 in this best of 5. And to finish things off, they're both going to be hopping onto the pads to play Shove Sawhawk S25. This was also protected by J-Boy, so...
I believe this is the first time we're seeing a non-arcade song in the tournament.
Yes.
So remixes and the other special songs are allowed if they get drawn. And there's not a whole lot of shortcut stuff, but we do have definitely remixes and pulls to pull from, and some of us end up getting pulled out of that. Funny because I think this is one of the easiest 25s now, but it's not easy at all. It just kind of goes to show how difficult S25s have gotten. Because if you look at, like, say, Neo Catharsis, the difference in difficulty in this range now is staggering.
Yeah, that really bumps the average difficulty of 25s quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hey, we've seen some clears in the US though on Neo Catharsis. S25 as already.
Yeah, the level's been absolutely amazing. People pushing for those. I'm too lazy to do that right now.
By all means.
Great song, though.
Yes, excellent song. Excellent, excellent song. The D24 is one of the ones that can also very much give you a run for its money, and leaves a lot of question marks to players of interesting choice of rating. But it's a good one. I mean, it really has you emphasizing a lot of different techniques.
All right, so this being a remix, this is a remix of Shub Niggeroth and Yog Sothoth, the very first two Outer God songs by Nato. Now this was added at the end of Prime 2 as the boss song, and as such, this was the most difficult chart that wasn't a mid-tension. There is a lot of run at 220 BPM, and then you get a break, and then there's even more run at 220 BPM. And the very beginning is going to be very deceptive because you do have a lot of swing twisting in these 8 notes.
It still has like the kind of like distortion bits, right?
Yeah.
But of course, players are aware of this difficulty range.
All right, good luck to both players.
Nice fist bump to start things off.
So this being EXE's chart, and he does actually take a lot of cues from Shub Niggeroth's S24, which he also wrote. So there's a lot of nods to that in this chart with the jacks, the triple usage, just a lot of the patterning style. There are a few of the gimmicks still here, like I think all the gimmicks in the chart are still around. But there's one really neat part coming up after these bursts. All these notes coming up in these 8th note twist note section after these 12th, these all have taps in front of them that you can't see. If you watch the targets flash, you'll see them flash really quick because it's quickly switching.
Yeah, you can see the grade on the hold there on J-Boy's side.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to keep getting all perfect, and if you just try and hold, you're going to get a bunch of misses because you don't realize those taps are there. J-Boy's struggling a little bit, but HDS managed to hit that, so this is a little bit of break.
You can see HDS opting to do a little bit more deep twisting, which the chart is requiring.
Now we have long anchor drills. These are deceptively difficult. Both players getting through those fine. Now we have a bunch of runs coming up, starting straight, and then they're going to start adding more turns in after these. HGS not really having a problem. J-Boy struggling a little bit more.
Excellent pattern manipulations by both players going into this rest.
Oh, J-Boy getting a miss at the end of that hold section. And now we've got the first big run section. Like, this is just going to be straight runs and drills. Yeah, HGS really taking off on it.
Too. You can see the differences in their form.
I think J-Boy's trying to chill in order to save energy, but it's not working. HGS is really pushing that.
Really pushed forward, locked in. And we're not done yet.
Yeah, this is the other break, and it's not gonna last long. HGS hitting that 24th drill, no problem.
24-bit drill.
And now we're in the second set of runs, and it starts with an anchor run into a staircase.
He's leaned so far forward, he had to let go of the bar very quickly and shake out. Wow.
Yeah, it's just really hitting it. Great pattern manipulation to keep the combo going.
J-Boy hitting as much as possible, just trying to get to the end.
But HGS just absolutely crushing
the screen, knowing what's going on. Your player's right next to you.
Yeah, absolute domination on display. Great control breakout. A 9-7-1 in a tournament.
9-7-1 in tournament play. And we're in event mode, so it will not be on the Phoenix leaderboard.
that's okay. He'll just get a better score later.
Yeah, he'll do better next time.
Yeah, so HTS is going to take that set 3-0. He's going to be our first one into the grand finals.
As a reminder to those of you at home, this is 220 BPM. It maybe didn't look like it with the level of play that you saw and how these players were approaching it, but he was drilling and running and twisting at 220 and pattern manipulating super, super effectively.
That's 14.3 steps a second, if I'm doing the math right. No, 14.6 actually. Like, it's fast. It's
and
a lot
there's a lot of 14.6. There's a lot of seconds in this chart to be had when it's a remix length.
Yeah, this is like this is almost 3 minutes long, and to have to get through 2 long runs really solidifies the 25 rating.
No, it's just so fascinating to see the differences in their form. So, I mean, I was commenting on how he was more leaned forward and locked in to be more directly over the pads. But since you're further from the bar, it can take so much more on your upper body. But regardless, both J-Boy and HDS did a superb job keeping their form stable for these single patterns.
Yeah, the thing about HDS is that he is like originally from Latin America, and he learned to play with like the typical Latin American style where they're very minimal on their form, knowing how to move their heels and toes and kind of shuffle around instead of like picking your feet up more like a traditional dance game.
Yeah.
So it really, really works in his favor, especially on singles. But even in doubles, he knows how to manipulate himself and run around with a bit less movement than most other players. He saves that energy.
If you're going up against HDS, what holes do you try to pick at?
What holes?
Exactly.
when I had to play him last, okay, just to give a reference, when we played last at a Byte tournament, I PB'd on Bimera D26 at the tournament and lost.
Yeah.
So next match coming up, we got Kaze and Matt Miller. We don't have this card draw just yet, but I think this might actually be in the draw since we're on this machine. So this is Loxia D22.
22 seems low, given we were seeing 24 25s in the other winning semi. I can go check real quick and see how the card draw is progressing. I'll be right back.
Talk a little bit about the song. Loxia being one of the new songs in Phoenix. It is by The Musical Ghost, a Filipino-based musician. He says this was actually his first song in a commercial music game, and this song is a banger. This is like one of the coolest ways to make your intro into a commercial music game. But this is also a really, really neat chart with just a lot of interesting twist running at 155 and a lot of bracket tech involved. They're having no problem with these rolling brackets right here. And now we have some gallops involving brackets. Such a good song.
Hi, quick update. Matt Miller's not here yet, so it looks like they're doing the card draw early for Tomatonium and J-Boy, who was moved on to the loser semis. I got a quick little snapshot sneak peek of what charts were drawn, and they're currently in the process of doing the picks and bans. So we can kind of talk through those together to fill in a little bit of time as we get started here.
Yeah, as Kaze finishes, just kind of his warm-up, I guess.
Yeah, so the first one in the draw is Further D25. Second in the draw, Rip D24. 1950 S25. Asite de la Rue D24. Bedlam D24. Halcyon D24. Deep Breath 1950 D25.
Oh, that's brutal getting two 1950 draws.
Yeah, the S25 and D25. And then last two are Dement D24 and Goodnight D24. One more time very, very quickly. Further D25, Rip D24, 1950 S25, Asite de la Rue D24, Bedlam D24, Halcyon D24, 1950 D25, Dement D24, Goodnight D24. So there's this pretty diverse set. We have a lot of doubles focused, of course. 1950 S25 being the only singles in the pool, but there are a lot of run heavy charts, scamnet heavy charts, bracket heavy charts, high caliber D25s, or medium, well, D25s on the higher end, and then of course the Asite de la Rue perhaps on the lower end.
See, the hard part about this draw for Tomato is that Tomato says he doesn't do well high BPM, and the slowest song in here is still 183 BPM. So, the thing is, a lot of these are 195 plus in focus, so he's got a lot less good options to work with compared to J-Boy, who can kind of lock in more at 200.
I have to say though, I mean, if knowing Tomatonium has been kind of like combing through the well, up to the 23s with all triple S plus, or for Phoenix rating, and is only maybe a couple of 23s away, then you have to have pretty locked in form for the foot speed required. And that would lean itself to maybe charts like Rip D24 being acceptable and fine. Maybe Halcyon D24 if you're warmed enough, but
Halcyon has some really nasty stuff in it.
it does. That was quite a tricky one that took a bit of grinding on my end part. And
I think personally, either one of them would probably get rid of a Seat De La Rue because they
Really?
probably think the bracket leading into
too volatile.
too volatile, because in a Seat De La Rue, there's a very mean rolling bracket that is very easy to get a ton of misses on because of the way it's written. I think either of them would probably want to not risk that. Or they might gamble on it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I would say of these charts, that's probably your best bet if you want to save energy for the remainder of the charts.
Yeah, because like the rest of a Seat De La Rue is not that hard, and it's actually
Right.
quite easy energy-wise. But it comes down to, do you gamble on being able to hit that rolling bracket?
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't seen the D24 before, every time it has kind of like the WOPs, those are worth 5 combo. So not only are you taking 1 miss, you're taking 5. And it's quite painful to see on the screen.
Or you can be like me playing VJ on it. You get the perfect on the tap, and then you miss the hole, so you get 4. And then you just die because it's VJ.
That's one way to play it, certainly. Bedlam D24 is an interesting part of the draw. And in contrast to that Dement D24, also an interesting choice in the draw.
Yeah, I don't know about Dement because it's all half double runs. I'm not sure if either player will really want to.
Very much a center 6 start.
It's also a 210 BPM. I'm not sure either player wants to deal with like stuff at that BPM.
For Tomatonium, it's first set of the day essentially. So getting warm-ups in on the other cab right now.
Yeah, and he knows the pressure's on because this is losers right here. So if he doesn't win this, he's out. That's very, very, very tough to deal with. Your first thing of the day.
And as a reminder, loser semis, which we're kind of waiting on, is also best 3 out of 5. So not only is this strategic mindset in terms of how the charts should be approached, but also the set as a whole. So a lot of decision making and kind of like mulling over as they're deciding. But it looks like the card draw is done. And Matt Miller has also arrived, so we're going to see some more card draws coming up very soon. I'm going to try to get information on which charts were picked and banned. But it looks like they're waiting to be put in. Yeah,
the match between Cousin and Matt Miller is winner, so whoever wins that is guaranteed a spot in Grand Finals, and the loser will have to go face I'm Drake.
Oh, then speaking of, congrats to HDS for being our first to make it through to top 4 round robin. Excellent job. I just have such mad respect for a player who can wake up and do some quick warm-ups and then just roll their shoulders.
25 to 26 is no big deal. I'm going to go back to bed.
Yeah. Skeptic D25, 978. Shove, 971. Hyacinth, 981. Wow. J-Boy as well. I mean, getting close to 950 on these D25, D24s first thing in the morning. No, certainly commendable. I think one of the most deceptive things about watching players of this caliber is that it can be very hard to appreciate how easy they make it look to play so well and so quickly. It's like, oh, it's just 220 runnings in Shub Sothoth forever, but it's just 220. How bad could it be? But
I can tell you, very bad.
It's very bad, yes.
It's funny because even I struggle with getting a pass on that consistently, depending on how I feel. Like
for Shub Sothoth?
Yeah, it's so much run.
Yeah.
And 220, like with the kinds of patterns it throws at you, it's not just straight run. You also start getting turns, and if you're not pattern manipulating well, you're gonna hit misses on those turns, and you're just gonna slowly bring your life down while you're getting tired. So it looks like J-Bo and Tomato are ready to go here. We're going to see what they ended up finalizing for their set. So this is very much a new versus old situation here because we got J-Boy the OG, whereas Tomato is relatively new in comparison. So the draw is going to be 1950 S25, RIP D24, further D25, Goodnight D24, and 1950 D25. So we might see 1950 again, depending if we need to go to a fifth song.
Yeah, but it looks, yeah. So as a result, right, it looks like we vetoed Bedlam, Dement, Halcyon, and Side De La Rue. Makes sense.
Yep.
Very,
so,
very
so
understandable.
this chart coming up, this is all Wind Force's like weird patterns. Here, all pattern manipulation. There's no really long runs. It's all here. I'm going to slam every hard pattern in your face, and you are going to deal with it.
This is J-Boy's Protect, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, J-Boy knowing this chart ever since it came out. He actually did. I remember he ate this on the first try when it came out on Prime 1 on a complete sight read.
Wow.
It certainly was a chart back then. It certainly still is a chart now, but it's a
is.
little less daunting with like the stuff we've gotten in the last 9 or so years since this chart came out.
Best of luck to both players. Had a little bit of time to warm up, so, but that doesn't make it so much more incredible.
Tomato already getting some misses on the brackets.
Misses on the brackets.
Yeah, one other thing to note about 1950, it is also late on sync. And this is like one of the latest songs in sync for the Prime 1 stuff. So it's very easy to get grades and other stuff on these rolling brackets here, and they are all over the place in this chart. Tomato choosing to actually turn these little bursts while J-Boy does the pattern manipulation. We get the bracket jack jumps here. These never get any easier to do. J-Boy handling them really cleanly. Tomato's struggling a little bit more.
A few greats and goods here and there, but still, like, for the most part, maintaining the combo.
Yeah, I think J-Boy wants to just kind of maintain combo, avoid misses altogether, and he's still maintaining a good amount of perfects.
Probably patting himself on the back right now for protecting this as the first start of the set.
Yeah, he normally doesn't protect singles, but he knows he's got an advantage against Tomato because he just has, like, the knowledge. And then we have this nasty guitar solo run coming up. It not only has these anchor runs, it's also going to have a bunch of 24s that the players are going to need to do back and forth brackets right here. J-Boy having no problem with that.
Looking very, very, very stable, hanging in there.
And then you think you get a break. No, this refrain is just even more of what we've already built on. There's no chance to actually rest. J-Boy in command right here, and Tomato just trying to hold on. One more 4-measure run, and then
the anchors.
And now we have the most technical part right here. Many, many difficult bracket placements, and they're rolling brackets, so you can get double punished if you miss entirely. And then we have the final run with a bunch of 30 seconds at 200 BPM, a 24 drill in the middle of that. Both players just trying to hit as much as they can just to minimize the amount of damage to their score.
J-Boy should be very aware. Oh, big hold drop.
Yeah, Tomato dropping the hold a little bit at the end too. So J-Boy looks to be in much more control there. Yeah, with very few misses in comparison.
Similar grade counts.
But with 100 less misses, definitely a very commanding lead.
Yes.
So J-Boy going to take that 1-0.
Yeah, that's a brutal first start to the set, but J-Boy certainly showing why that was protected. Tomatonium opted to protect RIP D24, which we're going to see next.
I think he might have done that because J-Boy doesn't have much Phoenix experience. Tomato might be banking on that for RIP.
Yeah, speaking of, from what I recall, RIP was banned, or vetoed by J-Boy in the set versus HDS. Are you aware if Tomato's going to Avalanche?
I have no idea.
I asked because that was one of the qualifier charts for Avalanche.
Huh. Well, it looks like Tomato's going to go first on RIP. J-Boy's going to get a peek at it. Yeah, Tomato going to try and get this point off of J-Boy on here with his protect. I think he's probably feeling a little bit more comfortable. This is probably near the top of his range. He looks a little bit more locked in now that he's had like time to play. He still has a pretty solid 983 right here. A lot of this really comes down to making sure your brain's turned on during the holds at the beginning. Then after you get the long break, you do have 16 measures of run that you have to do. The patterns themselves are not that difficult, but it's going to be the mental energy right here. So
I think the first half is one of those things that goes really well if you know it, and if not, you feel like you're kind of flubbing around the pads.
Yeah, this may be what he's banking on against J-Boy, since J-Boy does not have as much Phoenix experience. This is such a really cool and fun chart to play with a great song.
A lot of freebie points in the intro if you can play it well. That's the big if.
Tomato looking good so far, just some minor greats and goods overall. Getting a miss on that sloppy hold. Yeah, Tomato's struggling a lot with brackets today. He's probably not used to the pads.
Certainly looking stronger than on 1950.
Also, don't blink on this gimmick. Nice little break right here.
This is one of those parts if you, well, it's optional to kind of double step if you really want to rest, but it's slow enough where it really, and the twists aren't that demanding where really choose your own adventure. Take a little bit of break, wipe the sweat off. Another bit of a sloppy hold drop on player one top right.
Yeah, coming out of this hold section, we've got a 16 measure run right here. Starts off pretty easy. Patterns are not too hard right here, but they're going to get a little bit more difficult in the next 8 measures. Tomato holding on.
Yeah, you do have to really lock your upper body torso for some of these like minor twisting motions.
It does end with this really
Bracket
tricky
drill.
little bracket drill section.
Into flinging you across. Very, very comfortable clear, but a lot of like really dicey moments where we saw a couple bads or misses. The final verdict, 9-6-4.
9-6-4 is going to be the what's the beat?
Game over.
So 9-6-4 to beat. J-Boy can definitely do that. Like, he's very good at keeping track of things in holds. I think he's going to be comfortable doing that. It's going to really just come down to the run. And considering like the patterns in the run are not too difficult, he's probably not going to have too much trouble. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Like, he could end up dropping a big hold and getting a whole bunch of misses.
Yeah, from what it seems, Tomatonium is familiar with RIP D24 grinding from Avalanche qualifiers. From what I see submitted, it was a 982K. So just 9K off from his personal best submission for, about like 15K off from his personal best submitted for Avalanche 7, another tournament that's going to be coming up later this year, I believe. Couple months actually.
Well, J-Boy getting started with RRT
J-Boy's
right
getting
here.
started, yeah. We're going to see if like a little bit of the Phoenix ambiguities and anything ends up tripping up J-Boy.
You can see on his face, he's very determined for sure. Like, he knows he needs to win this match in order to get into grand finals, because if he does not win this match, he's out.
I mean, he has to have the confidence from taking the 1-0 lead also. So a lot on the line here.
J-Boy has the experience though. He's been in many, many different events over the last like 15 or so years.
Yeah, the part I'm more worried about is actually this first section, which J-Boy is doing quite impressively. Because I think the run pattern leans itself to, if you've played the game long enough, the run patterns won't trip you up.
Yeah, it actually looked like he got several extra misses towards the end of that hold section. So he's probably about even with Tomato. So it's really going to come down to the runs. I also appreciate this little heartbeat gimmick.
I love it.
I can't imagine how long it took to make that.
I don't have the knowledge of how the gimmicks are introduced, but
All right, J-Boy looking good going into the second part with the holds. Yeah, no problem holding those down.
I know Tomatonium left about like 40 grates on the table or so.
Oh, dropping that hold right there. So it's going to be a little bit dicey going into this last set of runs. We'll see if he can hold on here.
Yeah, he really has to find, he's finding the perfect timing window.
He's getting a lot of bads on up. I don't know if
a couple, yep. Just here and there, but missing. But overall, the perfects are stacking up a lot nicer, I think, versus Tomatonium. The bracket drill as well.
Yeah, the ending's much cleaner. A much cleaner ending overall. That'll probably do it right there, just based on the ending.
Just based on the ending.
Like the rest of it.
Hardest part of the chart, I would say.
Yeah, 976.
976.
That puts J-Boy up 2-0.
Very commendable.
Yeah, Tomato, they were about even until the very end, and then J-Boy managed to crush that ending.
Yeah, he really was somehow saving energy in the tank for that ending. That bracket drill was amazing, for lack of better terminology. Both players, I imagine, have a lot of comfortability and familiarity with these kind of like bracket patterns at high-level doubles. Seems like today J-Boy was just the one who was able to pull it off slightly better.
All right, it's potential match point for J-Boy 2-0 right now as we move into further D25. I actually did see HTS warm up with this, and they're just going to give you an overview.
Warm up, nice.
Yeah, but to give you an overview of this chart, this has a long drill section that it's very costly if you end up getting a bad chain or a good chain. So the players are going to have to be really, really careful.
So J-Boy was the one who opted to protect this one.
Yeah, he's very familiar with it being from Prime 2. He knows this chart pretty well.
I got this UCS. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, we can hear both Matt Miller and Kaze getting set up for their match and warming up on the other machine.
Oh boy. Yeah, their card draw is done as well. I don't want to read it off as we're about to jump into further D25, but seems like Matt Miller and Kaze guarding their warm-up in on D-Ment S23. Excellent choice of foot speed warm-up if you can do 210s.
It just gets you going.
I think it's certainly a good milestone chart.
All right, Tomato.
Further.
All right, Tomato's run and gun right here. He needs to win the next 3 songs to get a reverse sweep if he wants to stay in the event.
It's looking pretty dire. We really want to see more plays from Tomatonia. One of the really cool things, if you're not aware of Tomatonia, he always has his son watching, a little tomato sitting on the card reader, smiling and cheering him on.
Very good start right there, getting that run into the first triple. So we're gonna start with that drill section I was talking about a little bit. We'll see how Tomato does, if he can hold it down. Not only making sure he doesn't bad chain, but also this song is also pretty late sync. So getting grades can be a problem. And we did see a little bit of a bad chain. He's getting another one on the up. Yeah, you really have to make sure that your movements are clean, because if you just kind of graze another panel, you can probably end up over triggering.
It's such a large percentage of the chart, and that's still the easier part.
Yeah,
so I guess that's your freebie points if you can snag them.
But if you're not paying attention, then it can be a lot down the drain. So Tomato looking good as we get into the next part. So now we have these anchor hits coming up. So we're gonna have a lot of the same still. So the foot that's anchored down, you still need to make sure that you're hitting those cleanly and make sure you're not getting bad. Tomato looking pretty clean right there. Now we're going to get more bursting and bracketing in the middle of all these. Really brutal middle 6 patterns involved. And now we've got just an all-out run towards the end involving both sides. And there are some pretty fast sweeps across the pad with a lot of tech involved. So Tomato handling them really well. Overall, still very clean. Got to the last hold a little bit late though.
Blip on the last,
but at least managed to hold it down.
Looked very, very solid on those crosspads. The 91 grades
938 did pass.
Yeah, it did pass.
we can always take those passes at an event. Like, it's never easy.
Huge applause.
But that is 91 greats is kind of a lot, and that's going to give J-Boy a chance to sneak in.
Yeah.
If J-Boy can nail the accuracy down during the harder sections.
Yeah, I'm sure J-Boy is very much looking at that first drill section and saying, I need to hit that one. If I hit that one, you'll have so much more leeway on the hard bits, which Tomatonium did amazingly, by the way. Excellent job on the pass. But J-Boy's up 2-0. Loser semis. Match 17 for those of you following along with the bracket.
Yeah, if J-Boy wins this, then the match is over and J-Boy will advance to Grand Finals.
Grand Finals being a top 4 round robin. For those of you just joining. Looks like Kaze Matt Miller still getting their warm-ups in. They're choosing Goodnight S23 as another warm-up choice. A lot of foot speed heavy charts.
I do want to give a shout out to Fox B for this one. Fox B being the background designer for Further, but he's also like one of the main developers of Easy to AC, which he does a lot of stuff for that, which pulled a lot of songs from. So big shout outs to Fox B.
Best of luck to J-Boy. We're going to be staring very closely for the drill section.
Yeah, like I said, J-Boy has lots of experience having known this song since the beginning of Prime 2. So he knows where everything is, and he knows he just has to execute. Yeah, no problem getting into that run into the triple bracket. So now we're going to see how he handles the drills coming up. Let's see if he has the same bad chain problems that Tomato did. So far, very clean.
Wow. He understood the assignment, and he knows where his window is.
Did get a little bit on that center, though.
It's just one. Thankfully, the drill pattern switches, and you
Yeah,
have
that one's
perfect time
pushed
to reassess.
Yeah, thankfully it's not just all one drill. Otherwise,
Exactly.
you'd be bad chaining for a long time. So no problem there.
He's got to be feeling good going into this run, though, knowing that he's ahead now. And he's up 2-0. So hopefully the confidence will carry him through this.
Yeah, no problem handling these anchors right here. The middle six he's very comfortable with. Very clean. Getting a few more bads on these brackets. It's really hard to immediately bracket on the first note and then immediately take your foot off so you don't keep bracketing in over trigger. Yeah, he's doing great, hitting this last section here. See if he can get this last left to right sweep.
Hitting as much as possible.
Yeah, no problem getting a
More
pass.
comfortable clear, yeah. I'm curious, the grade count looked slower at a glance.
Yeah,
we
only
see
half of that.
52.
So a 9.52.
Congratulations.
So J-Boy takes the match
J-Boy takes
3-0.
Both players passed, by the way, so I have to big, huge props to Tomatonium. Passing further
Yeah,
D25.
big shout outs to Tomato. I think this was his first big deal, and to get into top
Yes.
6 at your first, it's
First
a
big
huge
deal.
accomplishment considering the level of play here.
Level of competitors. He knocked me out, and he's gone as well, but I will be rooting for him in spirit in all of his future tourney endeavors. Definitely be following along.
Absolutely.
Yeah, GG's to J-Boy.
Yes.
Agreed.
While we get set up between Kaze and Matt Miller, I'm going to take a quick drink, so I will be right back.
Yeah, meanwhile, I could give a quick overview of what draw that we saw. It is present on the bracket, but it's always, of course, good to kind of audibly walk through it as well. We're starting with Skeptic S24, which kind of gives an understanding of why they chose Dement S23 and Goodnight S23 as warm-up. So very foot speed oriented set, Skeptic S24, Quick Brown Fox D24, Vacuum Cleaner S25, and then we get into some weirder ones with Hard Rabbit Coaster D25 and Final Edition 2X D24.
I want to go to a fourth song just to see them both. I want to see them hop around like a bunny. Like, it's a little past Easter, but I still want to see the bunny.
I mean, these are amazing competitors. There's a very good chance we will get to fourth. I want to see them trading some blows.
Yeah. Now, do remember that the winner of this does advance into Grand Finals. So the loser will have to play Drake for a spot.
So Kaze protected Skeptic S24, which they're going to get into first.
we saw Skeptic D25 earlier. The S24 does quite a few different things involving a lot of jump jacks and other parts. Like it's a very different style of chart, despite having a lot of the same difficulties kind of shuffled around.
Nice fist bump to start us off. They're ready. One of the things that kind of like can be a little jump scare is how quickly it starts you off. But both players caught it just in time.
This chart having another set of drills to start off. Ruin Force really likes his drills in these sections. So the different part about this jump jack section coming up is that there are 16th nodes leading in and out. You need to really pay attention to make sure that you're alternating between 16th, first, and brackets as needed. It's kind of hard to see those. Matt Miller is struggling on one of them right now. Kaze taking an early lead. But getting a good bad chain right there.
Kaze on the left though. It's quite literally neck and neck right now. Matt Miller with one hand off the bar for the heel taps on center.
Yeah, those are a little tricky, especially since you have to keep your toe planted on blue for those. And like I said, sync for Skeptic is late, so it's very possible to drop these holds right here if you're not paying attention. And now we get an even earlier set of runs than we just saw in the D25. Now we have 2 8-measure runs with a bunch of anchors and turning involved. Both players, also Matt really starting to struggle a bit, but Kaze pushing a little bit better here. And then all hell breaks loose, and we've got brackets started, and there's going to be a center hold coming up right here with bracketing involved so that we can swing around the corners. Matt doing a little bit better right there, but I think Kaze had a little bit better overall. It's going to be tough as we get into this last little up tap chain. So we're going to hold up left right here, and are they going to keep these going?
We got a bad miss.
Oh, Kaze having struggling with that very last one.
Okay, life bar aside, I don't know how to call this one.
And that's going to go to Matt right there.
Kaze was more eager to twist some of the cross patterns during the run. I noticed Matt Miller during the brackets, second half of the run, more facing forward. Kaze was going for the crossover twists.
I think that backfired for Kaze just because he looked like he was running out of energy by the very end of that.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part about playing 24 plus, is that if you go in early, you do run the risk of running out of gas for later on.
Well, we're going to have Quick Brown Fox G24 coming up second. This was Matt Miller's Protect. So Matt Miller, seeing the pool of charts, perhaps chose this one out of 9 charts.
This is a very interesting one. I think it's like one of the most fun D24s to play once you've learned it, because the way it moves in the quads and triples in the early part are really neat and not really something you see in a lot of other charts. And then the last run is a little bit more chill with how it's patterned compared to other 24s.
It's, I guess, foot speed 200 BPM 24s just strike me as like medium stability, and then some cross pads may be thrown in, or increasing progressively twistier runs.
Yeah,
but if you can be stable, like this is a great one to go
This
for.
is definitely the kind of chart that takes advantage of the song being a little bit repetitive by having a very more progressive style of charting.
Looks like Drake is warming up with Jogging D22 on the other cap. Their set will be...
Jogging is way more catchy than it needed to be.
Yeah.
It's such a good pick for the game.
Yeah, but we'll be seeing Drake against whoever does not making out of this winner's semis match that we're seeing on screen right now.
So it looks like Matt's going to go first right here. Matt with a 987 as his personal best.
Hopping straight into it. Fist bump to start us off.
Yeah, our competitors knowing each other for a long time.
Absolutely.
Go back. Go way back. Very, very fun competitors.
Longer than even I have been playing.
Yeah, Matt Miller was actually the U.S. representative for World Pump Fest 2011. So
Mad props.
he definitely deserves mad props, and he's always pushed since then.
Speaking of, his goal this year is Expert 9 plus.
That's a good goal to have. So Matt having no problems with the intro right here. Now we're gonna get into like the meat of the runs. We're gonna have these little mini runs right here in between these really cool bracket placements. The triples and quads are placed in such a way that you have to be careful not to over trigger. Yeah, Matt not really having any real troubles here. Looking very clean. One little non-combo.
I think I see 2 combo breaks so far, but otherwise lots of perfects across the board on these bursty runs.
A little bit of a rest right here. This is definitely the time to get your energy back and just kind of mentally prepare. Because now we're going to have 14 measures of straight run coming up. Yeah, the patterns themselves are not very difficult because it's mostly just anchors. You do have this one little staircase, but most of these are just like simple anchor runs. So it's really a mental focus until you get to the last 2 measures when it actually starts to drag you over right here.
There we go. Yep.
It manages to lock in pretty well. That was a very solid run.
A lot of perfects across the board. So it'll come to, if Kaze is able to get the same level of perfects, it'll come down to who had more combo breaks. 2
Wow, yeah,
grades.
a 992.
I was trying to find them and they were so hard to find.
A new Phoenix
2
personal best.
on event mode.
Well, we'll
congratulations.
send that to Andamira later
Yeah,
for them.
yeah. 2 grades, 3 goods, 2 bads, 2 miss.
He was just one good away from having a perfect Redoble summon. Shout out to our
Yeah.
good friend in the community, Roberto.
Wow.
So the bar was set quite high.
As a reminder, Matt Miller did have the edge on Skeptic S24, so looking in good standing to go 2-0, but Quick Brown Fox D24 being a very stable card and Kaze being a very strong player, we'll see what happens. He's got to make sure to turn off HJ though.
Yeah, Kaze's got amazing consistency.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Like he has won his share of events too. He did win US Pump Fest 2012 back in the day. And he's won some other smaller tournaments. Like he's always a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Most recent appearance, I'm trying to recall if it was Storm, CEO perhaps?
It was one of
Top 4
those 2,
finish.
yeah, top 4 finish.
Yeah.
I do remember that. And he's been playing hard since then. So he's been very well prepared and in shape.
Yeah. This is a very, very, very stable run chart as we saw, so lots of potential to get a very high mark here.
Just a reminder that Doan's song titles are amazing, and this title is the common phrase that carries every letter of the English alphabet, the Roman alphabet.
Surprisingly a shorter, not the longest song title in the game.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Getting an early miss right there, so he's not going to have a whole lot to work with.
Some of these are deceptively large reaches if you're just watching the chart versus trying to play it physically.
Yeah, he ended up getting a lot of stray goods and bads.
goods,
I
yeah.
think that he's going to pretty much have to PG from here on out in order to keep pace with Matt. Like, pressure's really on. All right, 14 measure run coming up right now. Yeah, Kaze giving him a good push, but he just does not seem to be fully locked in. He might not be fully warm.
Hopping around to find the end, but
Yeah.
not spending too much. He's aware of, I guess the good thing about going second, you have the information available of your competitor. So if you're behind and you know you don't need to be giving 100% gas, you can save it for a little bit later.
It can be, but it's also the downside of now you're psyching yourself out while you play the set.
And they're going straight into Vacuum Cleaner S25 together, which means Matt Miller had more time to kind of like relax and calm a little bit down. going into a very, of course, other demanding chart. So
Yeah. So Matt's up 2-0 right now. So Kaze needs to get a 3-0 reverse sweep in order to stay in the winners.
I want to see Hard Rapid Coaster D25.
I really do too.
Yeah, this one, so Vacuum Cleaner S25 was Kaze's Protect, but yeah, as a reminder, Kaze literally just finished playing, so hopefully has enough time to rest going into this one.
I believe Kaze's also been playing on DDR on the other side, so he's probably feeling a little bit tired
Yeah.
from yesterday as well.
Yeah, I was talking to him yesterday. He said he only had maybe like one chance by late evening to really play on the pads here, to really get a feel for them. And then he said, you know, maybe after the tourney ends and everybody leaves at like 1 a.m., I'll come back and I'll just kind of play on it to get a feel for them. So yeah, balancing between DDR and pump. Kind of hard to get cap time, especially when caps are being used for tourney play all weekend. But certainly not stopping these competitors from putting down amazing scores across the board. Once again, got to turn off HJ. Not saving because it's in event mode.
I kind of wish out of all the things to like save in event mode, that would at least be one of them, your settings.
I wish it was the scores. If I had to choose one thing, it would be the personal bests.
Yeah, but a lot of people will use like one card for an event, and
Yeah.
then so it's just kind of a messy situation all around, no matter
That's
what.
fair. Yeah, I'm Drake is still warming up on the other side off screen. Very much looking forward to see who his competitor will be, but he has the time to kind of feel around and see how things are going.
You can see both their personal bests on screen real quick. For Phoenix, Kaze has a 943 and Matt with a 950.
This is going to be close.
Yeah. This chart, how do I put this? This chart is very ahead of its time, and it's both the most fun thing and most unpleasant thing at the same time. Like, it's perfectly fine, and I love it, but by the time I get to the end, I'm like, why am I playing this? Because it hurts.
Let's see if the players are
It's
able to hold on.
perfectly great. Now, this being the very first S25 in the game's existence, this still has held up really well, but it really showcases what S25s were going to be with all these runs at 222. Both players struggling a little bit with that stare right there.
Nice cheating form by Kaze, though. Popping into the red, yellow, red.
So they get a little bit of a break in this part compared to some of the other charts. So it's a good rest getting into the next set of bursting.
Good double steps.
Yeah, like being able to double step in these sections saves you a lot of energy. Kaze's struggling a little bit right here. And coming after this, we're going to get a long set of runs, and there's going to be some turns in those runs, capped off with a drill. I guess the drills happen later, but Matt really pushed it through. Really great pattern manipulation.
Great job on the pattern manipulations.
Yeah, and keeping accuracy as well while saving energy by doing the pattern manipulation.
Looking very, very stable in the run form as well. Kaze opting to do some of the backside twistings here.
Matt really locked in right now. A little bit of a bad chain there, but still holding out great. I think Matt's significantly less tired. Kaze looks like he's trying to do more of the techniques, and he's going to get a little bit more tired. He might not have enough for the ending.
Some of the hops looking a little bit more forced, but both players hanging on very, very strong going into this.
That 16th into 24th drill is always brutal,
Nasty.
especially being on the up arrows. All right, this is our last break. It's going to start with a staircase, and it's just going to be runs from here. Amazing getting through that stair on Matt's side. Kaze giving that push too. He's trying to push back here.
Matt's not giving a lot of room to work with though.
Anchor runs on this side. And then we're getting into the bracket trails at 222, being so tired. These are tough to do. Matt doing an amazing job hitting all of those. Pattern manipulated in the ending. And even getting this 24th burst at the end. Amazing job on Matt's side. Really commanding lead over Kaze.
It's like he was doing a victory lap. Powering
look
through
at
the
that,
rest of
like-
this card. A 918 versus 962.
Yeah, like, look at that miss count. 14 misses in an event setting.
That's a fair game if I've ever seen one.
Like, that would, if we weren't in event mode, that would be a PB we could save.
962 on vacuum cleaner.
So with that, Matt sweeps Kaze 3-0 is going to be our second person into the grand finals.
Congratulations.
Or third person, sorry, I forgot. We actually already had we
Yeah,
had
J-Boy.
Tomato and J-Boy play, so Matt will be our third person.
Congratulations. We're going to see more of Kaze with our new competitor, I'm Drake. They're going to battle it out for that last spot coming up very, very, very soon. It seems like Kaze, of course, is going to be shuffled into the card draw. Very, very excited and curious to see what they come up with.
So remember, loser of this has to play Drake, so they're probably going to want just a little bit of time. Kaze is going to need just a little bit of time to just
Yeah, given the
relax.
fatigue factor, yeah. Pushing very, very hard for the entire set of best 3 of 5. It's going to take a little bit. What a fun set, though. What a fun set. Across the board, I think a lot of these cards have, they've been very interesting. A lot of them, surprisingly, kind of like, I guess, quick speed run oriented, but the majority of charts would kind of fall in that category.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen too many like gotcha picks.
Yeah, at this range, it's going to be hard to find stuff that's not foot speed oriented. We actually did see Galaxy Collapse D24 yesterday.
Yeah.
That's like one of the few. We might see something like maybe Indestructible D25.
Yeah, that would be an outlier. Trying to check. We have a vacuum cleaner S25 on the screen still. I look up vacuum cleaner right now. Trying to pull up the world leaderboard for this chart. Matt Miller with his 962 score would actually be slotting in 962 790. Puts him 15th in the world in the Phoenix leaderboard if it were not event mode.
It's pretty solid. That's pretty amazing right there.
Just have to shake my head at these plays. The other incredible one, the quick round Fox set as well. With 2 greats, 3 goods, 2 bad, 2 miss.
Yes.
Yes.
While they're setting up the card draw, let's go ahead and go to our break real quick. I want to plug our sponsors. A reminder that we are sponsored by Red Note Gaming here. Great place if you want to play some rhythm games in Las Vegas. So we'll have a New York location opening sometime soon. So if you're looking for a great place to play some rhythm games, they got you covered. Definitely check them out on Twitter at Red Note Gaming.
New York sometime soon, TM.
I was actually in New York last year for vacation. It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Could always use more arcades though.
Yeah, there are these pockets of really, really close, tight-knit communities of active regular players, but they're of course centered around where the locations are. And we know that if there are more locations, the people will come. More people might shuffle around, more people might have an easier commute, but certainly new talent will emerge. And that's something I always love to see.
Yes, exactly. Our other sponsor is Mosaic Pop Print. So if you're looking for some custom rhythm game merch, we got you covered right here. And you can actually use the big deal for 10% off purchase at the site right there. Just remember that it's only available until April 9th, which I believe is in 2 days, so through Tuesday.
Yeah, it's the 7th already, so get your orders in. Shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, and big shout out to Round 1 Grapevine for hosting us again. Because this kind of event doesn't work without a solid location to work with.
Reading the chat, do we want to give kind of a verbal rundown of what we would describe Mexican foot tech as?
You can. Go ahead.
Question in chat was, is it how a lot of players angle their toes heels to minimize movement? Imagine, I guess the simplest example I can think of, imagine a 4-panel staircase. bottom left, middle, top right, right? If you're trying to do it with pattern manipulation, you can imagine trying to do it where you roll your left foot from blue to red, and then your right foot from yellow to other red. So instead of doing it as a hop where you do 1 plus 3 as a bracket, you do rolling 1, 1, and then rolling 1, 1. And it's very hard to verbalize without, like, I guess, a pad demonstration, but if you look up the players, you can kind of see whenever these big staircase patterns come up, the way they really roll their feet. Another resource as well, 4199 made a totally legit guide to cheating. Yeah, HDS videos as well. There are a lot of places where you can see the main takeaway, right, from a high level. If you're watching, and you'll see it here too, of course, as the players go underway. There's something to be said about upper body stability, and if you're able to really lock in and pattern manipulate very effectively and roll very comfortably, instead of kind of like hopping and kind of like bouncing on the pads and using a bit of strain to hit it, you're really just kind of like floating along the pads like you're on water. We should get into this set. It seems like the card draw is complete, and we're kind of cruising right along. I'm Drake and Kaze are doing their set. Irelia D24, protected by I'm Drake.
The rest of the set being Ultimatum S25, Paradox D25, B3 D24, and Cerebon D24. So we actually do have some twist charts at the very end of this if we need to go farther than a 3-0.
I think Irelia D24 is a good choice for a first, especially for I'm Drake, you know. Having done warm-ups but not really gone full throttle on the tournament mindset yet for today.
So Irelia being one of the new Phoenix songs, this is actually a BMS license, I believe, which is a little bit unusual considering he usually does original for the game.
Are we still on track for PG? I don't think I've seen any grades yet.
I think we are. So this chart's going to focus mostly on some mini runs at 200 BPM.
And I'd say the end run pattern is very fluid. So this one's going to come down to very high level scores. Grade count will matter quite a bit.
Yeah, Drake having no problem getting to this intro. I always think of this song as Armageddon 0.5 since it came before.
Yeah.
Yeah, very clean so far on Drake's side. It's a little bit more running. The patterns in here aren't too difficult, but they are stacked back to back, so it's a big stamina aspect in this chart.
The run is still going, by the way. That's the deceptively hard part.
Yeah, 2 16 metric seconds back to back. It's deceptive. Drake hitting these anchor runs, great. And then we have a little mini slowdown right here, which can take you by surprise if you're playing it for the first time, especially since most of the audio cuts out. Drake having no problem finishing out, though.
Nicely done. Single
A
digit
989, that's a very good start. That's going to set the bar quite high for the first song.
9 grades, 4 goods, 4 bads, 2 miss. 984 max combo as well. And a personal best, by the way. I love the stability, especially going into the outro. It's deceptively twisty. And, well, Drake made it look easy. Just cruise right along. Just laughing right now. Not tired at all. It's like good warm-up. Excellent warm-up.
Online network.
Yeah, we're back and we see Kaze. After a very hard-fought set against Matt Miller in the loser semis against I'm Drake. So we're trying to decide which between I'm Drake and Kaze will be the last in our top 4. A lot on the line. It's make or break.
Yeah, the player who ends up winning this song will definitely have the advantage, not only in points, but also kind of a confidence boost going into the next song.
Absolutely. absolutely.
Like, dance games are surprisingly mental
Yeah.
when you get into a tournament setting.
I really want them to get to a 4th because I'm just so partial to V3 D24.
Me too.
And I think it'd be a nice refresher from how many of these like kind of like really locked in, fast BPM running, plus twisting, plus some cross pad heavy bits we've seen.
Yeah, I want to see at least one person turn to a pretzel at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
No salt.
We need pretzel time. Best of luck to Kaze getting into Irelia T24.
Now, we did see that he was struggling a bit with the Quick Round Fox D24 earlier in his match against Matt. We're going to hope he can shake that off a little bit and be a little bit more locked in.
Yeah. I mean, he was, once again, going second. You have the insight. You have the knowledge available, seeing how much of this that Andre got perfects on.
Yeah, the patterns in this chart are all very comfy. There's nothing like super hard patterning wise in this chart. It's really just
a lot.
the stamina.
It's a lot.
It's the stamina aspect.
Boy, is it satisfying to hit, though. Looking very solid. I believe just one good so far.
Yeah, I think it's just one good. All right, here start the 32 measures of runs.
Make or break here.
Getting an early set of misses, though. Drake didn't have a whole lot of misses on his side, so really got to tighten up here.
He's finding it.
Getting a lot of straight goods, though. That is going to be costing him a few points. The accuracy has been overall good, but he cannot afford to get these stray other judgments. Coming up to the last run right here. Stamina definitely catching up to him. You can definitely see him struggling a little bit here. Yeah, definitely was getting
The
tired
stairs
out.
as well, yeah. Yeah, I noticed in the second half of the run, the misses started piling on as soon as it hit the, I don't want to call it an anchor, but it's where your left foot has to hit player 2 top left for 2 hits successively, and you're kind of doing stuff more concentrated on player 2.
Yeah, 964 for Kaze here.
964.
So Drake taking the first song, definitely in a bit of a more commanding position. As we move into Ultimatum, so we're going to go from a bunch of doubles runs into a bunch of singles runs next.
Oh boy, Ultimatum S25 is ambitious choice. Kaze's protect, by the way. Have to have a little bit of concerns if the stamina seemed like it was a bit of an issue. But my guess, at least, for the Irelia D24 is just that upper body didn't quite get him to push enough over to player 2 side in the second half of the run. Meaning the legs have to like carry a little bit more of the weight, work a little bit harder, and then going into twist, if you're already kind of like expending the last bit of in your tank, then it can be quite a big ask. But still, 964 is an amazing score, and I think it goes to show how much of the early on points were really pushed for. So excellent, excellent push by Kaze. I'm Drake though with a very, very impressive 989 on Irelia D24. Almost triple S territory on D24s are nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. The Ultimatum was added at the very end of XX, so it's been out for a couple of years, so our players probably are a bit familiar with it. Like, Kaze already has scored. It looks like Drake does not actually have a score recorded on Phoenix for Ultimatum S25. So if he hasn't actually played this in a while, this is going to be really rough because this is a long set of runs and it devolves into almost nonsense in the last 8 measures to where you're just going to be spamming panels in a very specific way in order to make sure you're not missing much. Don't forget there's also 2 slowdowns in this chart at the very beginning and the very end, so that can also be a source of point loss, especially in the second one where things get very difficult. So starting off in Ultimatum, so the big the big chunks of this are going to be an 8-measure run at the very beginning. And then we're going to have a long set of 32 measures of run right after the second break. So this is just a taste of things to come right here. Both players looking very solid with a very solid start, no problem. So there are stops in this chart. Like, they did keep the gimmicks. Both players kind of having a little bit more ease getting through those brackets, and definitely hitting through the slowdown a lot better. So this is pretty much going to be the only break in the chart at this point, and from here it's just go time. And remember that Drake did not have a score recorded on Phoenix for this, so he might not have the mental capacity to get through this whole thing. Especially with how daunting a 32-measure run at this BGM is.
A little bit shaky on the bracket rolls.
Those sideways anchor bursts are so mean.
Drake twisting it.
Yeah, Drake twisting and getting it. He's got to keep up that energy, though. He might be banking on Kaze not being able to keep up. So he's going to push it. But really getting tripped up with the brackets. Whereas Kaze's managed to keep up, and he's not slowing down. And now we've got the last 8 measures with ridiculous patterns that basically involve jump smashing. Rolling brackets into the corners. Kaze holding on pretty well.
Amazing hanging on.
Drake really struggling right here.
His first half looks so strong.
And then we have this final slowdown with jumps mixed in every beat. Very difficult to handle, especially with it slowing down and speeding back up. Yeah, Kaze definitely looking a lot more comfortable on that until the very end.
I have to look at the judgments though. Yeah.
919 to 89.
9 by Kaze, yep. The lower grade count was something I was a little bit worried about, just given his performance in the start of the run.
Yeah,
but I think just gassing out a little bit or just not really connecting on the brackets did a huge number.
Yeah, the misses just really stacked up over time. It's a chart where once you get started, you can't stop. You have to go.
I'm curious if the twisting on the first half was worth.
It may not have been. And that's the tricky part about playing now with the more accuracy focus and scoring. Like, you have to make those kinds of decisions and stick to it for the whole time.
Like, wow, was it impressive to see the combo through it, but then you still have 2/3 of the chart to play through.
So it's 1-1 going into the next time. So we're going to be seeing all doubles from here on out.
D24.
We are. Well, we're going to see another remix
first.
We're going to see Paradox D25.
Paradox D25. That's a great one. I mean,
this one's cool. This one was actually, the remix is from Prime 1, but this chart was added at the end of Prime 2. So it's a little bit newer, and it's a little bit less played than the infamous D28 that we were not going to see yet. We might see it later. We're not sure yet.
I want to say the difficulty progression ramp up is it's pretty backloaded. It's like a very sudden flub of stuff, but I guess a little bit of tricky bits in the first part where if you're just going for pass, you're not thinking about how technical and rhythmic some of it is. But in tournament setting, of course, those are your freebie points. You have to be really consciously thinking about them and stabbing your attempt at it. So it really starts to pick up, you'll see, when it has the outer drills and you kind of like fly across from player 2 to player 1, drilling each one, and progressively just get more and more running and cross paths. So a little bit of interlude, but we're going to be looking to see how many freebie points Drake can pick up. Opsta started facing forward. Inside joke, I played this backwards.
So this chart also has a few other mean things. There's a section where there's tap placed in front of holds in a very mean way. Oh, dropping that hold for a bunch.
10 miss. That's brutal for a single blue tap. But certainly a lot more chart to be had. It's just not what you want to see getting started here.
Yeah, sync on this remix is also a little bit late. So dealing with some of these longer holds can be also deceptive. And that may have been partially what happened to Drake. He might have bounced off the centers a little bit too soon.
He's looking really solid on these bursts though.
Yeah, he's handling the first 1950 section just fine.
These are incredible job.
Now we get these holds in these little mini drills, but coming up later in this section, we're actually going to see taps.
Yeah, hidden taps. Hidden.
Like you can just kind of see them. With this note skid, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to tell that those are actually taps in the middle between those holds.
Yeah, you have to hit all of those holds twice.
And then we get into the first run section. It's going to have a little bit of bursting, and then we're going to have a final run at the very end of it to cap off this first section.
Yeah, those two cross
dropping
pads are
another
volatile,
hold.
but the holds are still giving him a little bit of run. He's shaking his head.
Yeah, Drake having a lot of trouble with the holds in the chart, getting a lot of drops.
This was I'm Drake's Protect too. Here we go.
So a little
You
bit
still
of
have
break,
a little bit of holds. Yep.
and then we're going to just get straight into full-on runs at this point right after this. And these are not going to be easy patterns to deal with either.
You can see he's trying to maintain his breath.
Yeah, he's really struggling at this point to get through. He's definitely tired.
Yeah, I can tell it's a little bit of probably the mental load as well, given he knows how the first start went.
Yeah, just doing 220 in a tournament,
Yeah.
it hurts.
The
Yeah,
six misses
Drake
one.
really struggling
Yeah.
getting that hold to hold on the down right.
Yeah, I imagine by the time he gets to the run, he's not really thinking, I want to win this one. And knowing that it's a best of 5, he can throw it away and really roll the dice on V3, D24, and Sarabon D24 if they can make it that far. But Kaze's looking at this and saying, okay, I just have to
Not give up, I guess.
not give up.
Like,
Yeah.
like Kaze will at least
Yeah.
jump around and push it around.
That's a big room for, you know, we're not looking for passing here. We're just looking for, can you make it through to the end of the chart, I think. You see, I'm Drake very much just kind of like hopping around for the ends rather than going for the twist on it. Just not really feeling that it's worth the effort. Yeah, a little bit of concerns just noticing on the holds when the end run, quote unquote, started. It seemed like he was very struggling to like find his breath and really find the energy to push through for the end of it. Probably a wise choice though to kind of reassess and take your time going into some refreshing taste of charts with V3 coming up.
It may have partially been the last two songs since those were very run-heavy charts as well. at a high
Yeah, I really
BPM.
D24 Ultimatum S25. That's
Especially
very,
since we
very
did
good
see
point.
that Drake did go kind of hard in on some of the harder patterns
Yeah,
of Ultimatum and
yeah.
use the energy. So
Yeah.
it may be catching up to him now.
He was looking very, very strong at the start of Ultimatum. Twisting it though is such a violent motion when you're at 200 BPM and you have to really be flying across in singles. So you have to hope that Drake is doing okay and hanging in there and can make it through to the end of the set as Kaze.
Yeah, Kaze does not have a recorded pass. So we'll see how he does. He might not, we're not sure if he didn't play it yet on Phoenix or if he just didn't pass it yet.
I'm under the impression Kaze's certainly in good hands to get above a 908 on this.
He's definitely very capable.
Yes. At the same time, it has
Oh,
been a
he
long
ended up missing
weekend,
that as
and
well.
we see the same thing.
The same 10 hold miss.
You can see him smiling. All you can do is just kind of like laugh that it's the exact same error.
Having no trouble with the little gimmick holds at least. So coming into the first 1950 section right here,
Was that did he lift early on the hold?
I think he did. Maintaining the accuracy at least. Like I said, the sync on this was a little bit late.
Yeah, the center 6 bit, it can be a little bit tricky to read and parse through.
All right, we're going to see if he has the same issues with the tap skin. Now, he's using the Fiesta Note skin, which is definitely a bit easier to see these little taps in between the holds. But he's also struggling to hit them. Like, you have to hit pretty late.
You have to be aware that they're there also.
Yeah, he definitely did better on the second set of
Yeah.
those.
He's like, oh, I can't hold my foot. Let me try it again. Excellent job. Looking great so far.
Coming into the first set of bursts. About keeping pace with where Drake had it.
Yeah. I would say slightly cleaner. Well, no, I can't say that.
And this is his last break before we get to the last set of bursting and running. It looks like he's holding it together a little bit more, but maybe getting a little tired. Definitely needs to catch his breath here.
Break here, yep. Here's where the chart really picks up here.
Yeah, it's going to really ramp up here these last sets of runs. Definitely looking a lot more comfy on that one. Now he needs to push these last sets of burst and runs.
Very pattern manipulatable center 6 there.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to just hop around and get much.
Yeah, just hitting as much. He knows that certainly seems like enough.
Yeah, and he's holding down that last one.
He's concentrated on that hold. Yeah, it's looking like it'll go to Kaze here. 69 greats. Nice.
9-4-0, so Kaze's going to take this down. So we're up 2-1 in Kaze's favor. So this coming up with V3 V24.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is a potential match point for Kaze. So Drake needs to win V3 in order to stay in. Otherwise, he's out.
This is such a breath of fresh air. I feel like so many of these are such clenching, hold your breath as BPM running charts. We're going to have a nice little treat with V3 D24.
This is the closest we're going to get to Beethoven Virus in this entire tournament.
Yeah.
Game over.
Beethoven Virus D24 showed up in my card draw versus Tomatonium, but we both opted, nah. I think perhaps we were a little bit unsure if we wanted to try our hand at the center 4 twists or spins as bracket holds.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're going to go from these high BPM charts into like a mid BPM twist chart now for players in this range. It's going to be a very different set of skills, especially since V3 has the flow of the chart is very different from everything
Literally
else
just
in the
going
game.
straight
Yeah,
into
Drake's
it.
just going straight in.
For those of you who have not seen the chart, maybe not aware, there's a little bit of interlude going into the highlight, which perhaps is very deep twists and
with 180s involved as well, where you're going to have to hit blues, the two center blues, but turned around.
yeah, you're very cross-legged in a lot of moments of this chart. It makes it very fun and interesting to play, but it can get a little dicey to read, a little bit tricky, and a little bit tiring too, because you can't rest as much foot weight on your toes.
Yeah, and even the so-called easy parts, they're not easy to score on. Like, they're very deceptive and very easy to just trip up.
Look at that red twist. Barely off the player camera, but you can see.
Yeah, Drake having no problem with these runs, really going in. See how he handles these triples here. And into the quads. Still maintaining a full combo, and we're going to get into the long twist run. This is going to be the biggest one. And there's going to be even more after that, but this is going to be the chunk of the difficulty.
I say not the hardest, but certainly one of the highlights here.
Drake's starting a little bit early right there, I saw.
Look at those twists.
He's not maintaining a whole lot of accuracy. He's getting the combo, but he's not maintaining enough accuracy.
Yeah, see a lot of grades flying up, but overall, following the pattern well.
Managed to get to the stair run right there.
He got the broken stair combo.
Now he has to maintain it because there's just more and more run right afterwards, and it just
Yeah.
does not let up on the patterns at all.
And these...
It looks like he's starting to tire out. He needs to push this.
yeah, this is the super critical part here. We have another blue crossover, another red crossover.
And then a flying section right at the end. Hold this hold into the last quad.
Nice.
And a good finish.
We're looking at the grade counts. We did see the grades stack up, but I'm in
9-4-9.
Just
Like, he had
shy
such a
of
great
AAA.
start, but
I'm in
the
love
accuracy really bringing down the second half of that run.
I'm in love with his first section. The center 6 kind of like stair patterns in the intro where he
They were
looked
so
so
clean.
stable. His upper body torso was just literally swivel or twisting from left to right, but his upper body stability, mad impressive. Very cool to see live. I think also for Irelia D24, it was the same kind of story where I was watching his twist form, and his upper body was just so clean. All right, a little interlude. Yosei Ferry, UCS.
Hey, surprise UCS tournament happening. I should have written something for the winner.
Shout out to VKim's UCS at this start, by the way, with the foot switches.
So Kaze is up 2-1. He knows the score. He has to keep that 9-4-9, which means he's going to be focusing hard on the accuracy probably.
I'm not familiar with Kaze's ability on charts of this caliber, or this style. Do you have any
He's
insight?
one of the OGs. He knows how to turn.
Oh, excellent.
Like, he knows how to turn.
Drake has a run for his money.
Like, this is a man that when Liad's 2 Crazy was released on Zero, he spent hours watching the footage to learn how to turn it when it came out. This is a man that knows how to turn and will absolutely do them when he feels he needs to.
All right, now I'm excited then. I'm super excited to see this. Thanks for all the love and support in chat, for everybody watching, tuning in, contributing.
Really
appreciate you guys for
everyone
being here. Quick recap for those of you just joining us. We're finishing up loser semis to determine who will take that last coveted spot in a top 4 round robin grand finals, where they will be choosing their own pocket picks of 25 plus charts. So that's going to be very, very, very exciting.
Just a reminder, our other 3 players that are confirmed for grand finals are HDS, Matt Miller, and J-Boy. The winner of this will join them into the grand finals.
Yeah, it's crunch time though. Kaze with a 2-1 lead over I'm Drake, having to beat a 9-4-9 to secure the spot. Otherwise, we'll need to go into Sarabon D24 as tiebreaker. A lot to follow and keep track with, but we're here with you. We're going to guide you through. Let's see B3D24 by Kaze.
And we'll see if Kaze has the energy to maintain everything, because we know he's been having a little bit of a struggle getting through. But if he can really push, he can definitely capitalize on the accuracy situation that Drake had.
Yeah, that first twist run will be crucial from a scoring perspective. But then you still have to play the rest of the chart is the problem.
That's the hard part.
Love those backside twists. There's the red twist. Excellent stairs.
No problem hitting those runs. Kaze being a bracket master, no problem keeping full combo. So he's BGing so far as I can tell, running as we go into this first set of runs. We're going to see if he accidentally starts early like Drake did. He needs to maintain this accuracy. Struggling a little bit with misses and bads, but maintaining the accuracy very strong. He's in control.
Able to find the patterns very cleanly. Broken stair.
Almost manages to get it. Now he still has to get through the rest of the chart.
From a scoring perspective, I want to say slightly to Kaze here. Still the rest of the chart to be had.
Oh, he's looking very clean here. He's locked in.
That is deceptively hard. Your back foot on the blues in the center does not have a stability point. You need to be flinging it around.
Middle 4 right here into another flying pattern. He does get the stage pass, it looks like.
Stage pass. But more importantly, less grades across the board. That's going to pay dividends very, very soon. We see 23 grades with a 9-7. Massive applause. Kaze takes it.
And Kaze is going to move on into the grand final.
We have our top 4.
Yeah. Major shout outs to Drake as well for putting an amazing effort in, getting all the way to top 6 this time.
The run form in Irelia D24 was so stable. A 9-8-9 on a D24. And the Ultimatum S25 with twisting and maintaining combo. Have to ask if it tired him out, but really, 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 really great push.
Yeah, Hudson really getting his second wind right there and just managing to push that out. Like we see him getting some deep breaths in while he's over by the stable as they do their card draw.
Yeah, so their card draw is going to be not really even a card draw, more just they're going to reach into their pockets and say, I want to play X, I want to play Y.
I want to play ugly D random DAT.
25 plus, sorry. Otherwise, I'd be totally on board.
Well, I mean, if you adjust the ratings for random, it can easily be 25 plus.
True. Yeah. Love to see some yoga positions on the pads.
So I hope y'all have enjoyed this event so far. We're going to plug our sponsors one last time with Mosaic Popper and Red Note Gaming. Get your merchandise. Get your rhythm games in.
those of you at home, thanks for sticking around. Thanks to Round 1 Grapevine Mom for sponsoring, or rather having us for this beautiful event of tournaments going on. A lot of hype around DDR, Pump, DRS. It's been a busy day. Busy weekend. Hot issue D26 in the chat. Yeah. I mean, if you have full reign for 25 plus, the real question is, what do you pick? What do you pick, knowing the competitors in your pool, or just what you want to play, what your strong suit is, what their weak point is?
Yeah, this is very much a case of you need to know your opponents if you're going to have pocket picks. Because you can't just pick something you're good at. You need to pick something that the others are not as good at.
It looks like some of the picks are already kind of trickling in. We have Gloria D25 as one of the picks.
Oh, that's dangerous.
That
Ultimatum S25
very
again.
dangerous.
Indestructible D25. I bet you Miller picked that one. Miller loves Indestructible.
Yeah.
And the last one is Paradox D28.
Paradox D28.
You're
That's
gonna get
gotta
your Paradox.
That's got to be HDS's pick. It has to be HDS's pick. HDS loves playing the high level stuff.
We are going to cap this tournament off with the very first D28 in the game.
Well, certainly a way to end things. I'm curious the play order, if they're going to play their entire set one by one, or Gloria first altogether, Ultimatum altogether.
So yeah, just to recap the set one more time. Gloria D25, Ultimatum S25, Indestructible D25, and Paradox D28.
It's just like a slap on the table. Bam, I'm going to pick this one.
This reminds me like of the time I played Random Train in XX. I got 2 easy D24s and then got hit with 1949 D28.
It's over.
That's kind of how it looks like right now looking at this set.
What an interesting diversity. Gloria D25, for those of you following along, maybe not aware of the chart, it's incredibly backloaded. It's one of those charts where it's so backloaded, so much of it, the filler ends up mattering in the sense that
Yeah, think about
90% of the chart you have to be getting perfects on at this level of play, I want to say. And then the last 10%, it really is just a mad dash of, well, I guess the question that needs to be answered is, are you going to pattern manipulate and do a lot of like blue bracketing with your foot, or are you going to do the 245 BPM just straight ahead?
Yeah, so Gloria was originally rated at D24, and it's funny because we talked to the chart creator, and he was like, I rated it D25. Somebody rated it down.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know why anybody thought a 8-measure run at 245 BPM across both pads would somehow be only a 24.
Yeah, it starts with a lot of center 6 and then makes its way over to player 2, player 1, and then back to player 2, back to player 1.
Like, just as a reminder, that's over 16 steps a second.
Yes.
That's ridiculously fast. Like, that's among the fastest runs in the entire game.
Yes. I'm curious. I've seen HDS play this before, just pure foot speed. No pattern manipulating going on.
Yeah, some players do that. I know RSS in Korea, he's fast enough to be able to do that as well. But just
very excited and curious to see Matt Miller, J-Boy Kaze, how they choose to approach it. Yeah.
I imagine most of them will probably just try and get as many notes as possible and try and go for the bracket strats, because you can kind of do a bracket technique for it and get pretty reasonable amounts of judgments while not getting misses for the first half of that.
Yeah.
But you have to know it's coming, and if you don't know it's coming, you're probably just going to miss more than if you tried to actually run it.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get some insight on who pocket picked what, because I am dying to know who grabbed which charts. But, you know, I guess our predictions, right? HDS Paradox D28, Indestructible D25 by Matt Miller. Ooh, looking at Gloria and Ultimatum. Who'd you attribute those to? J-Boy Kaze.
I really think, well, you know what? I'm not even going to try and answer that.
Sure.
I can't think at this hour. This has been a long 2+ days of tournament. I have no brain left.
Yeah. Yeah, Kaze did protect Ultimatum S25. That's a great point. So, I'm going to slide over real quick and get some more information for you guys.
I will be right back while Tisa comes back.
Yeah, so got some inside scoop and made it updated on the sheet. Gloria D25 was picked by J-Boy. Gloria D25 picked by J-Boy. And Ultimatum S25 picked by Kaze. We were correct on our predictions. Yeah, it looks like we were good across the board. Go commentators.
So we'll go ahead and get set up in just a bit. HDS getting set up. We'll go ahead and swap over. Don't worry about what's happening on screen.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm curious about how the ordering is decided. Yeah, they're going to get a warm-up set, it seems. I'm not sure if that entails one chart or one entire full set. This is jarring to look at this speed.
And with this background.
Yeah.
It's still a little bit better than just the title card staring at you the
I
whole
liked
time.
it. They were like rooting for me as I'm playing the chart.
Or they're plotting against you.
Yeah. Some of them got a little bit of a meme mug going on. No, I'm pretty happy with our predictions, though. I mean, the pocket picks kind of make sense. Kaze, having played Ultimatum S25 and familiar with it and knows his performance on it today, is happy enough with it to say, hey, I'm totally happy to play this. Gloria D25 by J-Boy. Curious the rationale. Curious, maybe treat it like a dice roll chart, like...
I think, like, playing Deep Paradox, he just wants to play hard stuff and make everybody suffer with them.
HDS, yeah. Yeah. I want to say HDS certainly thrives in an environment where there are a lot of people watching, there's a lot of pressure on, and it really pushes him on high-level charts such that he himself wants to do his best as possible. So if it wasn't obvious, HDS really thrives in these tournament settings. And very strong with a 516 miss combo.
Look, it tracks max combo. Why can't we track max miss combo at the same time?
Exactly. More stats, more useless stats are always nice to have. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be getting warm-up set though.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be staggering this because Kaze is also in DDR on the other side of the room, so we're going to be staggering this on one machine.
Yeah, we do have a second cab, but it looks like for top 6, we're just primarily sticking to the same cab in the effort of having all players playing on the same pad conditions. It has been a thing, I think, this weekend where the other cab, currently not in use, has had a little bit more shakiness, a little bit more needing work, maintenance on the fly. And when you're having to do maintenance a couple times every single day, it can be a little bit unpredictable in the moment. So.
Yeah, these pads, like, I was here when this place opened up. So these pads have definitely taken a beating in the last, like, 8 years they've been here. Like, they've been very well used. They've served us well, but they've just had their use, and it's really hard to maintain them. And, like, we've done everything we can. So big shout out to the Round 1 techs for doing what they could to, like, make these pads as good as they can for the tournament.
Just to answer the question in chat really quickly, song list, Gloria D25, chosen by J-Boy. Ultimatum S25, chosen by Kaze. Indestructible D25, chosen by Matt Miller. And Paradox D28, chosen by HDS. They are allowed to do pocket picks as in their top 4 round robin, and it looks like it'll be on a point-based system. So rather than just looking at cumulative score, it'll just be who wins, who gets the most points. As far as I recall, it's a 5-3-2-1 breakdown.
Yeah, being able to win really helps you out in this kind of situation. Like, just because in comparison to, like, say getting like a second or a third, you're going to be more points down than if you were to get that first. And that can be the key if you manage to win 2 of them. You have a lot more room to work with. than if you were to get like several second place finishes
Right.
in a row.
This is the D23, correct?
Yes. This is a cool chart. This also has a lot of runs. I think HDS just wanted to get a little bit of a slight warm up, but not exert himself too much.
Yeah, you can see the fluidity on the pads. It looks like he kind of just threw away the brackets because maybe a little bit of stomping to execute those. Yeah, kind of feeling a little bit through those twisty runs. The cross pad getting a little bit, maybe not just choosing not to commit to it. It's more likely.
Yo, I knew you could do it.
I knew you could. Ew. That'll be me after the tournament once we tear everything
my
down.
favorite is just the very easy. That's like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks to those of you sticking around. It's been such a great, fun weekend. We had 60 competitors to start off, by the way.
Yeah, a great showing overall.
49 contestants fought their way from bronze through silver to gold to emerald to diamond.
Yeah, platinum
Maybe
to
a
diamond.
platinum in there as well. Yeah, not emerald.
And then we had the promotion stage after that.
Promotion stage where the players were playing 23s and 24s in a round robin format
And
into
one-
a best of 5
And one person from that.
for one lucky contestant to earn their spot. Bird, shout out to Bird, congratulations for earning the 12th spot in a double elimination bracket format. And we've narrowed it down to our top 4 now in grand finals. It looks like we're starting with Ultimatum S25. Curiously, he's playing it solo.
I think he would prefer to get this one out of the way because it can also serve as kind of a warm-up since it's long. Like it's a long set of runs. And he would probably want to get the singles out of the way now.
Very curious to see if he's doing his entire set in sequence or if they're taking turns. Best of luck to HDS.
I don't think we saw HDS play Ultimatum yet in this this tournament. We had other people play Ultimatum.
Correct.
So him being a master of minimizing, he's probably going to have a little bit easier time than the others getting through this.
Look at his, you can see his torso during these straightforward run patterns. It looks like the frame is stuck and then his legs are just glitching out, but this is in real time here.
Yeah, very, very solid full combo starting off. Yeah, he gets his one break right here. Remember, it's going to be 32 measures of run right after this.
So generous.
Yeah, no problem
Excellent,
making it
perfect
through.
chain.
So now it's the long run. We're going to see that pattern manipulation come into play right here on these little side anchors. No, he's actually going to turn some of that before getting back into it on the stairs. Only one combo break going in after the stairs.
He's catching his breath.
Yeah, HDS showing no signs of slowing down. Getting a little bit of a good chain right there, but managing to maintain it.
He's doing a very good job managing his respiratory.
Just brutally jumping through those jump patterns is so ridiculous. Getting through the rolling brackets. Not even dropping life bar at all in that section. All that's left is this last slowdown into speed up back into a slowdown. He's getting a little bit more hung up here, getting a few more bats, but managing to make it through. That life bar did not move at all.
Clear.
Incredibly commanding performance right there, knowing what he needs to do.
962 is the number to beat.
Wow! New record!
962.
That's going to be extremely difficult for any of the other competitors to beat. Ultimatum is just incredibly demanding.
A 962 on the Phoenix leaderboard, if it were not event mode, would put him at 16th in the world, just above Happy Beats. In tournament play, that is incredible.
Yeah, in tournament play, that is an amazing score.
Looks like he's going in for a second one. It looks like the entire set is going to be done in sequence for each
Yeah,
competitor.
likely because Kaze's still in over at DDR, they probably decided they'd have the players do their entire set.
That's such a big ask, though. You play Ultimatum first. Maybe you do Gloria as your rest now. Yep, there it is.
Going into Gloria next. I guess he wants to use this as kind of the break between Ultimatum, whatever's next.
I mean, seems like you would do Indestructible and then full throttle on Paradox.
Yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah, HDS is a US player. It's heartbreaking to me. He does kind of view this as his last year of tournament play.
Oh, really?
I believe so. He's teased retirement, I think plenty of times, but certainly I think life and everything in general is just, he keeps saying, I'm getting old, man.
I'm getting old and I'm still going to play this game. I'm going to bully him into keep playing. Especially if he's going to put out performances like these on Gloria.
I know, it's such a loss to the community to see him retire, and everybody, of course, is pushing him to keep going and keep going. It's always so mesmerizing to see him play.
Yeah.
Literally, all the competitors are watching right now.
So the first, like, 85% of this in Gloria is going to be all mostly bracket tech at 245 BPM. There's going to be some little mini drills here and there. This is really going to just kind of get the points rolling, get the blood going until we hit the very last 8 measures, which is going to be just a straight 16th run at 245 BPM.
We're still on track for PG, I assume.
It's definitely still a full combo. There have been no major mistakes so far, and he's just smashing it.
He's certainly, he's very familiar with this chart. I know he's been pushing for some of the foot speed sections at the end.
Just barely getting that drill. Just barely getting that drill right there. Struggling a little bit more with the bracket section. It's actually pretty deceptive to hit all that.
Yeah.
So this is the last break before the last run.
We're gonna see if he chooses to just 245 foot speed.
All right, 8 measures run. Here we go. Oh, he's just going for it.
He's going.
He's going. He is hitting all of it. Look at that foot speed and consistency. Incredible last
No pattern
run.
manipulations, just straight
He just straight up ran a 245 BPM run across both pads.
and made it look easy.
Only 7 misses, a 9.83 in an event. Ridiculous score.
I see some people just looking at it and like shaking their heads like this guy's a monster. Freaking insane.
Yeah, I cannot stress how difficult that pattern is. Like, it's
Likewise.
already difficult enough to stream 245 BPM on singles. To have to shift your weight around on doubles
No,
is
he
just
was-
excruciating difficult. And he just destroyed that with no problem.
He was perfect comboing through it in the center section as well.
Yeah, it's just incredible how tight his form was in order to hit everything.
Yeah, he didn't break until it slid over to P2, which is totally
Very
expected.
understandable.
Yes, very expected, for lack of a better word. Man, I guess I would hope we see Indestructible D25.
Yeah, so he's going to use Indestructible D25 next as kind of like a bridge between the earlier songs and Paradox.
How terrifying is it that the other competitors, Matt Miller, J-Boy, Kaze, are going to be aware that these are the scores that HDS put down?
That's going to be a high, very tall order.
Very tall order. At the same time, having a top 4 round robin, it can almost be viewed as like a victory lap for making it this far in the tourney. It's sometimes I view some of these like top level finishes as like a like exhibition matches almost, where you're really seeing the caliber of these top level players and like how intense these charts get and how players can really appreciate and execute it. So please, those of you at home, enjoy and hope to see you guys up here someday as well.
It really is a big deal if you can make it.
It's a big deal, if I do say so myself.
All right.
Indestructible D25 coming up next.
Yeah, so this song came out pretty early on during the second year of XX, but it was added very late in the patch for XX. So it's a little bit newer than the other charts. So there might be a little bit of a mental shift right here. This one is very focused on very unique bracket techniques. It's at least not going to be as speed oriented since it's only about 175 BPM, but the bracket techniques required here are very demanding on your feet positioning. Almost getting that first rolling bracket run.
Nice long rest here, catching his breath.
Yeah, I believe they took this gimmick out coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's no longer a scrolling gimmick here, so it's a little bit easier on your brain. So this is his rest right here. And then we're gonna have a bunch of really, really cool runs coming up that are gonna be like side to side with brackets at the very ends of those. Like the positioning is so cool here. HDS having a little bit of trouble with the holds. They're actually dropping the tail ends of these a lot. He might be bouncing off of them too early.
Yeah, look at the hip swivels on the player camera. You really have to be like conscious about which way you need to be facing your hips for this.
Looking a little bit better in the second half of this. As we close out, there's one more rolling bracket run coming up. Definitely struggling, getting a little bit tired here, but having some slop. But almost managed to completely demolish the last one.
Yeah, I think it was just like the top left player one top left arrow missed, but otherwise combo through the rest of it.
964.
964.
Still good, but not as quite like commanding lead as his other song. I think the others are going to be able to catch up a little more on that one.
Game over.
You had to tease them a little bit. Give them a little bit of room to work with. And then we're going to see a nice, beautiful showcase of Paradox D28 coming up.
Yeah, just a reminder that this song took quite a while to clear at first. When it was released at the end of Prime 1, it took about another, let's see, I believe it was another 7 months before it was cleared. It took a while.
At least the history I'm aware of, it's a couple years outdated information at this point, but I was present at Chinatown Fair one day when he just kind of like picked this on a whim. And of course, this was during Double X, and he was really, really happy by the end of it because it was a broken A, but it was his second time ever getting a broken A on this card, and that was a couple years ago. Certainly, he's been pushing some 27s and trying to get more clears on it, but wasn't quite able to close out Expert 4 in Double X, and of course is having some just I guess life responsibilities, tackling it in and not able to make as many sessions to the arcade. I believe he goes once or twice a week to Chinatown Fair for his sessions, but he's still able to put out massive sets like this. And I mean, he picked Paradox D28. He wanted to play this. It's self-inflicted, so I'm very excited to see how he works, but of course he's going to take his moment to catch his breath. Very, very, very.
Wants to make sure his AV is set in place. And for something like this, you need to be in a very comfortable AV to make sure you know what's coming up, but also so that you have everything spaced out properly. So this was the hardest chart in the game for a good 2.5 years. And even then, it is one of 2 D28, so it's still extremely hard.
Yeah.
So Paradox being the mix of Yogg-Sothoth and 1950, it combines all those elements together into one mega chart that is, it hurts. Put simply, it hurts. Oh good, we didn't have a hold drop on Paradox finally.
All right.
I was a little scared if we were going to continue that trend.
I wonder if it's a pad issue or something. No, but HDS is like, here, I'll show you how to hit it.
So the really tough part about this is that it's 220 all around, and there's really no real break aside from like after the middle 1950 section. There's no real actual break. You are doing something the entire time.
And given that's the case, I'm curious to see if there will be more spots where he chooses to pattern manipulate versus Gloria, where he was just full sending it as twists.
Yeah, see right here we've got these anchor jumps.
That red is.
It hurts.
Oh, the hold note section is coming up very soon.
Yeah, so we have these rolling hold notes. So you have to be very careful with your timing. You actually want to be very, very late in order to hit these. Because if you go too early, you'll either miss on the tap or you'll end up dropping the hold itself. So you have to be very careful with your timing right here and stay very intentionally late.
Yeah. You have to have a lot of muscle memory of where to find the pads and a lot of pattern awareness to really parse through some of those patterns. They can be a little bit tricky to see.
And here comes the first 1950 run right here. At 220 BPM, these are just ridiculous patterns. Trying to catch as much as he can right here. This is going to be his only break right here.
I think he's a little bit sad about the life bar drop. Catching his breath.
And one final push into the Yogg-Sothoth auth runs. Still at 220 BPM, starting with a staircase right off the bat.
Yeah, he opts to kind of skip the player 2 side.
Now some of these parts are at least on one side, so you can conserve a little bit of energy, but then you have this long bracket anchor drill run. And he's pushing hard.
He gets the 25 note combo.
At this point, it's all just manipulation. He's trying to manipulate as much as possible to not miss as much. Absolutely brutal at 220 BPM.
His finish is very strong. Venue is electric seeing this play.
And with that, HDS is finished with this set. The bar to set for Paradox is going to be a 9-1-1 with 86 misses, but we're not playing 86. So
we're not playing 86.
We need to move songs around.
Oh man, the 9-1-1 on Paradox D28. Congratulations to HDS for finishing your set. He can take a nice, hard-earned rest as Matt Miller hops on to the pad second. As a reminder to you, those of you who are just joining us, you just missed something incredible, which is HDS playing Paradox D28. Truly a sight to behold. To get a 9-1-1 is
just really an incredible set all around.
A quick reminder of the set that we're going to see for those of you tuning in. Gloria D25, Ultimatum S25, Indestructible D25, Paradox D28. Our contestants are HDS, Matt Miller, J-Boy, and Kaze. And these are all pocket pick charts in the range of 25 plus. We basically gave these contestants choose 25 plus, go have fun. Go to your playground and play the charts you want to play and make other people suffer on. And these are what we came up with. It looks like Matt Miller will also be starting off with Ultimatum S25. So, best of luck.
Yeah, best of luck to Matt getting his grand final set started. He's going to start with Ultimatum as well.
Oops, slight hold drop. Or tap. I couldn't tell if it was the center or
I missed where I missed the miss.
You missed the miss. Certainly a lot more chart to be had going in.
Yeah, Matt being the number 2 seed in this tournament, really strong. Had strong qualifiers, been playing great all day, last 2 days. We'll see if he can continue that right here. Struggling a little bit with that gradual slowdown, but not too much there. He can definitely make it up coming into the big run.
Big shout out to him perfecting through the 2 4-panel stairs with pattern manipulations.
All right, now we've got the 32 measures of run. Had a little bit of trouble with that rolling bracket right there, so really needs to pick up the points in this run section. He's doing pattern manipulation on the anchors right there. Did a great job overall, didn't lose too much. Into the second set of runs, the second set of 16 measures. No problem with the brackets. Matt is very locked in right now, accuracy and combo-wise. Now we're getting to the last 8 measures to see how he handles this last little jump spam. Comboing through it, but having a little bit of trouble with the accuracy. Getting into the rolling brackets. center panel not triggering quite as well as he was hoping for, so he's going to have to just close it on this last slowdown. Absolutely brutal final speed up into slowdown. But overall, a very solid performance.
Matt Miller, excellent job on Ultimatum S25. Those of you watching at home, you're probably wondering, oh, is the ending like a reading kind of trouble, or is it like an execution kind of trouble? And all of
And
it
the
is
answer is yes.
Yes.
944 is still very
Took the
solid from
words
that.
right out of my mouth. Yeah, 944 is great.
Even if he didn't catch HDS on Ultimatum, he still probably has a little bit of room to work with to stay ahead of J-Boy and Kaze. So we'll see how they handle it when they get there. That'll probably follow the same song pick order that HDS did.
Game over.
Curious if they are allowed, I mean, it seems like they are allowed to play the order as they so seem fit. Curious if Yo opts to choose Gloria D25 second as well. Maybe chooses Paradox D28.
No, I think he wants to close out. And Matt's very much a showman. He likes to close out with the hard things. That's just how he is, and I think that's more exciting for Pump anyways.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's going to follow the same order with Gloria going next.
968 as the top score.
983 actually.
Oh, sorry, yeah. His personal best
His personal best is
968.
968. But his
but
score
the
to
score
beat
to
is a
beat-
983. It's going to be a rough fight.
Agreed.
Yeah, Matt can be quite fast when he needs to be, but I'm not sure what kind of strat he's going to do for the final 245 BPM 16th run. If he's going to do some pattern manipulation or if he's just going to run it. He's definitely going to pick up as many points as possible in the earlier sections. So he might be able to pick up points in the middle bracket spam that HDS was having a little bit of trouble with. Oh, having a bit of trouble with that drill there. The thing about this chart is that it's actually a little bit tiring since a lot of the movement, despite being like only 8 notes at 245, it's very wide movement, so it gets a little bit tiring if you're not paying attention to optimizing. We'll see how Matt handles this little middle bracket section coming up with the rolling. Nice clean drill right there. Very clean so far. No problem getting through that aside from just a little bit of goods at the very end of the rolling brackets. So we're going to see how he does on this last set of runs.
I'm just curious to see if it's a manip or if it's pure straight running. Going
he's
through
running.
full speed, yeah. Oh, he's pattern manipulating for the center 6.
He manages to combo some of it right there. Definitely a little bit tired out.
Shaking his head a little bit at the very end.
Yeah, it's really tough to just end a run right there and then have to immediately switch from a running stance to a bracket stance. A 970 is still very strong.
Great job.
Wow! New record!
Very, very excellent job. It's a good choice. I mean, it makes sense going from straightforward running while it's still shuffling straight ahead. But as soon as it's kind of like the 3 on the player 1 side in the center 6.
It's like then you need to make the pattern change.
Yeah, that's when you kind of start, if you don't want to be twisting excessively, that's when you kind of just start hitting the brackets, hitting it as brackets. Then flip around on the player 2 side of the pad, center 6 for the other brackets. Excellent job getting
Yeah,
it
great
through.
job all around.
Level 17.
And now he gets to play, hopefully, well, probably going to play his pick next.
I know
Indestructible
Matt
T.
loves Indestructible. Look at that 981.
It's staring you right in the face.
Like, Matt loves the chart. He has put a lot of work into it. He has gotten actually very close to zero missing this. I really hope this song stays for a long time. This is like one of my favorite modern licenses. And everybody like seems to really enjoy the charts for what they are. Matt definitely does. Getting an early miss right there. It looks like he just didn't lift his foot up enough. See how he handles this first rolling bracket section. Almost getting it.
Close. Wiping off some of the dust. Might be a little too slippery. While skidding on the pad is certainly not a good idea, or not enjoyable feeling. Sometimes if it's too slippery, you really can't get the weight on your toes to really push you around the pads the way you want to.
All right, we'll see how he handles this right here. He's definitely dropping less holds overall than HDS was.
Kind of scattered bads here and there.
Looking a little bit more strong. But definitely having issues with those blue brackets right there. It does require quite a bit of foot swinging. So it's going to be close going into the ending right here. We'll see how he handles this very last rolling bracket run.
Lots of scattered bads.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I can't really tell how close it's going to be to HDS's score here.
You can tell he wanted to do better on that.
966. He does actually manage to place above
He
HDS.
takes it slightly higher by 2,000 points.
Yeah, just barely managing to clutch it out over HDS by about 2,000 points.
Yeah, Grand Finals is point-based. We're talking about if there is a tie.
So
to read off
we'll
chat,
break this
yeah.
down again real quick. If you win, you get 5 points. Second is 3, third is 2, and fourth is 1. So those points are totaled up. And if there's a tie in the case of those points, then the total cumulative machine scores are used.
So very similar, I think, to the waterfall that we saw Friday and most of Saturday. Very similar kind of like pool of players. 4 players playing all their charts together and then comparing based on points. 5 points for the winner. Certainly can make a difference. Unless HDS makes a commanding performance on everything, and the players have to meet these high benchmarks.
I'm so proud of Matt. He has a full set of grades, except for this one. So he's gonna get it now.
Yeah, he's got to fill out this one. So even if it's event mode, he'll have it on record. So. Meanwhile, J-Boy's getting warm-ups in on the other cab. We'll be seeing J-Boy very soon, as Kaze is
Still playing in DDR, I believe.
most likely,
right
yeah,
now.
still hovering DDR.
But Matt looking almost ready to go, just trying to catch his breath, knowing he's got to play Paradox in an event like this. So good luck to Matt. Remember, this was your U.S. representative for WPF 2011. He's definitely learned a lot and come a long way since then. Really pushing hard. Very accomplished player now. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot to say about this chart other than it just kicks you in the teeth the whole time.
Yeah, in different ways.
As you can see, like, Matt's struggling a little bit with those brackets right there.
Understandable choice to kind of like pattern manipulate some of the bits. There's so much more chart left to be had.
Yeah, there's a lot of like staircase patterns that are in the middle six, and you can manipulate those to save yourself a bunch of energy if you do them as very careful eighth nodes. Because you have a long way to go with the chart. No matter how good you are, this chart will always kick you in the teeth stamina-wise.
Obvious statement, but the worst thing you can do is stop playing. So.
Oh, Matt having a little bit of trouble holding that hold down, losing a bunch of points. Doing a great job with the rolling bracket section here, though.
Nicely done.
Deceptively hard to actually combo these. And into the next 1950 section. Is he going to get this stair right here? He does. Good manipulation. Let's see how he handles the first run.
A lot of pattern manipulating. It's
Actually doing a great job pattern manipulating considering how fast this is. But he's definitely looking tired.
Yeah.
He's going to get as much breath as he can during this break.
What a monstrous set.
Gets the 24th drill at least at 220 BPM. That's not trivial.
Massive props for that. Breaks at 420 combo. Nice.
And into the final Yogg run.
Excellent stability going over to the player one side.
Yeah, he's really locked in on those single pad runs. Let's see how he handles the bracket anchor drill coming up. This is extremely hard to do. Just stomping brackets over and over 220
having to
BPM.
very quickly like turn your foot for the blue bracket is such a big ask.
Yeah, he's pattern manipulating as much as he can in the middle.
Yep. Right.
And finishes out. He's just got to hold that quad hold down.
Just gotta hold it. There it is.
There we go.
Nice job to Matt Miller finishing off a crazy brutal set. Let's see the final verdict.
That's going to put him at an 8.95.
8.95 on Paradox D28. Finishing up Gloria D25.
So far second on every song except for Indestructible. He was able to get a slight lead on
had
Indestructible.
A slight 2,000 point lead. But finishing off a very, very, very impressive strong set on Ultimatum, Gloria, Indestructible, Paradox. What a monstrous set to play in series. Just starting these off with Ultimatum S25 is nuts to me. Because you get so winded, and then thankfully you have the Gloria D25 lovely break provided by J-Boy.
I think I honestly would have picked the set in the same order if I was playing myself. I don't blame him for doing it this way.
Yeah.
Just get the two really intense ones out of the way.
Yeah.
And use the other ones as the rest.
Yeah, I guess from a commentator standpoint, it seems like the real points to be had, or the real meat of execution will come in the form of how stable can you be on Ultimatum S25 and how technical are you on Indestructible D25. Meanwhile, Gloria is a dice roll, take your time to rest, and Paradox is a dice roll. Are you going to make it to the end of the chart? Okay. So.
Yeah, it's a dice roll when you have to roll a D20 5 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't get natural 20s on each of those, you fail.
It's over. It's so over. But I mean, both HDS and Matt Miller putting up great show on Paradox D28, giving the audience what they want to see.
The pain.
The pain. The the high level number.
Yeah, and with that, J-Boy is going to step up for his grand final set. J-Boy was the 4th seed in this event. Did overall very well in qualifiers, especially considering he wasn't really, both the qualifiers were on XX, but he hadn't had a whole lot of time to like prepare on Phoenix stuff. Now, thankfully, all of these charts actually are in XX, so I think he's going to feel a little bit more prepared than if we ended up with some Phoenix things.
Reading off J-Boy's card here, he has a fun fact. He said, "Getting old is awful."
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Just getting old is awful. That's an amazing fun fact.
Just pass your years off to somebody else.
Stay young and youthful so that you can just mash out crazy stuff.
But really, as you get older, like serious, as you get older, make sure you stretch, take care of yourself.
Please.
These are very physical games, and you need to make sure you don't hurt yourself playing, so be careful as you get older.
Yeah, but he's been playing seriously. Started 0 in 2006.
Interestingly, J-Boy, like, he's a much slower reader than most other players, so seeing very like dense run charts at this speed is very daunting to most, but it's just more comfortable for him. So looking good so far, but we're going to see how he handles this 32 measure run. I'm not sure how much he practiced Ultimatum going into this, like especially since it was a newer XX song. Doing a little bit of pattern manipulation on the sides right there. He's definitely holding up so far. Let's see how he does on the second half of the runs right here. He's getting a whole bunch of greats and goods though. That might be costing him more points. And definitely struggling with getting to the side. He's gonna have to really hightail it on this bracket spam here.
Able to find the rolling brackets somewhat, but at 200 BPM, it's such a huge ask after such a nasty run pattern.
And into the final slowdown right here, into the speed up. Manipulating as much as you can, but definitely looking a little bit tired there.
Yeah, scores to beat were 983 and 970 by HDS and Matt Miller respectively. Regardless of the score, applause around. Great job.
You mean 962, 944?
Oh, yeah, apologies. 962, 944.
Different row. So
yeah, I was like, there's no way it was a 983 on the Ultimatum S25. Yeah.
So with an 896 right here. So J-Boy's probably going to look a little bit more comfortable going into the next set of songs, as he much prefers doubles over singles. So I think going into Gloria and Indestructible, he'll feel a little bit more comfortable, but the other two definitely set the bar high on these two.
Not a lot of points of freedom in the first 90% of the chart.
Yeah.
And like I've said several times before, very curious to see how he approaches the last 10%. Kim giving a shout out to J-Boy. Inspiration for all players from his early YouTube videos to his modern performances.
Yeah, J-Boy was definitely one of the first people I looked to when I started my own punk journey back in 2008. So I have to definitely thank him a lot for getting me rolling on 15 plus years of pump experience now. He's definitely been a huge influence on many, many players, having gone to World Pump Fest 3 times in 2006, 2007, and 2016. So he actually encompasses both the old and the newer eras, having been able to attend events in all of those.
Still alive and kicking. And he's going to need to for this Gloria D25 end run. Sel says shout outs to everyone in the top 4. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've earned their spots. It was such a hard fought top 12 bracket. Did you bracket that? He just bracketed those two. I love that.
Look, we didn't get to see Heart Rabbit Coaster, and I guess we don't need hopping after all.
Yeah.
So no hopping, bracket only.
Yeah, the main thing we're going to be tracking in the first 90% of the greats and the combo breaks in the tech section going into the last 10% death run.
J-Boy looking a little solid, little bit of a struggle right there getting to that crossover.
Yeah, the backside crossover. Still a lot of charts to be had.
Yep.
Just a little bit of dent in the combo bonus if you want to consider it.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to the rolling bracket hell and the final run. Those are definitely the 2 biggest points in this chart for points. Getting a little bit of a break right here, feeling a little bit more fresh. He's doing a good job making sure he doesn't drop these holds. He knows that holds have been a problem for a lot of other people during their matches. He's being very careful with his foot placement. Managed to get the drill going into this.
Has a little bit of a struggle at the very end of that section. Still more tarts to be had. The last 10% is still very, very, very crucial for points.
Yeah, it's going to come down all the way down to just getting this last set of runs. We're going to see if he's going to run it or if he's going to try and bracket manipulate it. He's running some of it right here.
He's trying it with runs.
Now he's
some
trying
pattern manips, yep. But going into the straightforward runs, which you kind of have to do going into it. Last stairs.
Yeah, it's rough.
Life bar gets a little bit dipped there.
Yeah, J-Boy finishing with a 9.46.
9.46.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid attempt until the very last run, and then after I think about 2 measures of that run, he definitely started gassing out, and that's understandable because a 245 BPM run in a tournament setting is very easy to gas out in.
After Ultimatum S25.
Yes.
It's been a long day. A long day. J-Boy is going to sign up for Indestructible D25, Paradox D28, and to finish things off for the day, we'll have Kaze hopping over from DDR to finish his part of the round robin.
New tunes. Level 17. Level 25.
Now, I was talking a little bit earlier about Indestructible D25 being a newer chart, so this actually was something that J-Boy may not be as familiar with as well, since he was spending some more time looking at older things than newer things around that period. So we're going to see how he does on Indestructible D25. He might not be as familiar with it. I know he was definitely studying Miller playing it to make sure it's fresh in his head.
Right, it is a newer chart, so. How do you feel about Indestructible D25 versus Just Hold On D25?
That's a good question. I find them both really fun, but I think this one's the more interesting one overall. It definitely gets the advantage of actually being synced better.
I see. Okay. It kind of like twists you around more, I want to say.
Yes, the type of brackets that are used to just hold on are kind of more lock you in place, then move to a section, then lock you in place there.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just kind of all over. It's a very different skill. Like this and the D22 for this song as well have very unique bracket concepts that you don't really see in other charts.
It's very easy to bucket them together, I guess, versus other D25s, which are so much more cross-pad heavy, but a lot of nuance there between the two charts. And we're going to see J-Boy play Indestructible D25.
Yeah, after playing 2 fastings, he's probably going to feel a little bit more comfortable playing something in the 170 range. Give his legs a break and just kind of make it more mental. Couple of floppy bads right there. Very, very clean rolling bracket until the very end,
A few bad chains for the last 2 or 3, but otherwise very, very stable bracket transitions.
Here's his one rest right here. Like, J-Boy knows he needs to pick up some points here. All right, here comes the middle bracket section. We're doing a little bit better, like not getting missed on tails, but hitting a lot of sloppy bads. Got to really pay attention to your foot technique here. And it looks like he's struggling a little bit to hit these patterns.
A little bit of life bar dipping going into the P1, back into the center swing.
Final rolling bracket run right here. Managed to hit most of it and give a strong finish.
Very, very, very stable on all of, I think, those sort of like bracket rolling transition patterns from player 2 to player 1 or player 1 to player 2.
Very good.
9-3-6.
9-3-6. So J-Boy has unfortunately been trailing on each of the songs so far, but does have a chance to come back with a little bit of paradox. Still wants to stay good just so he can stay ahead of Kaze, because Kaze still needs to play his whole set.
Yeah, looking at the point distribution, it's hard to see if Well, yeah, given the points may shuffle around for Paradox D28s, right? Just have to beat 9-11 to get first place on Paradox D28.
No biggie, right?
It's such a low bar, the number is lower. So more points on the table to be had. But regardless, and jokes aside, yeah, it's looking like we're cruising along as J-Boy will finish up the last of their set.
New tunes.
Yeah, J-Boy's definitely played his share today, especially since he had to also climb out of loser semis. So he might be feeling a little bit mentally tired out,
boy.
and I would not blame him.
Oh boy, that is a very good point.
And we see everybody really crowding around, wanting to see these final matches.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, J-Boy today has played Skeptic D25, Hyacinth D24, Dub Sothon S25, and then 1950 S25, Rip D24, further D25, and now is finishing up. It's just been all 24s and 25s for all these contestants, but certainly some very, very, very heavy Stana-ass cards. Paradox D28 starting up very, very, very soon as J-Boy will finish up their set.
J-Boy taking a second, make sure his shoes are nice and tight. You definitely don't want to trip in the middle of a 200 BPM
No,
run,
no, you
220
do not.
BPM run. We had some laces get untied over the event, and this is like the one time you definitely don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I've been it just I get so worried when I see the players playing. I saw some 23s. We're trying to get a countdown going, but J-Boy was just ready and raring
He
to
was
go.
ready to go.
Yeah, he's like, let me just get this over with, please.
That's okay. We'll get another chance with Kaze.
Yeah. We'll get the moment. Lots of players watching and recording from the back. You can't see them all on stream here, but there's quite a crowd looking. A lot of competitors from yesterday and today excited to see this Paradox D28.
Yeah, just following everything that's happened up to this point. All the matches have been played. It all comes down to this. Our top four seeds being our top four competitors.
Zelo, how did we get here?
Painfully.
How did we end up here after such a painful weekend? It's been so much fun.
Well, J-Boy having a pretty solid start so far.
Excellent.
He definitely wants to save some energy and make sure he can hit some of the ending.
It's the red bracket. Mad props.
Yeah, very difficult to hit these jack brackets over and over. Hopefully he'll hold this hold. Matt had a little bit of trouble holding this hold right here.
There it is.
J-Boy also has a little bit of trouble holding that down. Yeah, rolling brackets being a real problem right now, and he's probably just tired out, but knows he needs to conserve energy in order to make it through the rest of the song, because he needs to play the whole thing. You need to make sure you get the points.
It's your last song of the day. You really just got to push and make the most of the experience, if you want to call it an experience.
Into the 1950 run right here.
Taking a lot of pattern and staying in the center six.
Yeah, he's definitely very tired out. He's
Yeah.
just going to have to push it.
Nice little rest here, thankfully.
The last break of the tournament for him. Almost at least manages to get the 24th drill right there.
Yep.
And into the final Yogg run.
Yeah, throws away the staircase. Going on the player one side, kind of just hopping through, hitting as much as possible. Finding a second wind, but into this very
very difficult
demanding
bracket drill area.
He was catching up to it when it was getting on the player one single patterns, but suddenly the pattern changes.
Yeah, there's just no time to really lock in, even if you like find a strat. And at least it holds down that last squad hold to finish out the tournament.
I feel like all three players so far, they finished Paradox D28 and they just shook their head. I'm like, what just happened?
That's all of us anytime we play this, not just
Yeah.
in an event setting.
Of course. 825K by J-Boy. Excellent, excellent job pushing through to the end. It's so easy to see how things are progressing throughout this chart and just feel like you just want to walk off and just take it for what it is. But a lot of applause and people commending J-Boy for an excellent job
like
today.
Pump is a pushing game. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, you push, especially in an event setting. You just go.
You
This
don't
is
know
a game
long
absolutely about pushing.
Yes.
That's why we've always valued just here. What's the hardest thing you can play? Go higher.
Yeah, just try +1.
Game over.
Oh man, Kaze got a little bit of warm up off screen and of course on DDR as well. Hopefully it's not too exhausted because a very demanding set is up for him as well.
Yeah, Kaze has the interesting situation is he was still playing in DDR, so he's going to be pretty warm, but that might also factor into his stamina.
And to answer the question in chat, they're really playing Paradox E28. So a bit of overview on the format. Yeah, you tuned in at the right time. Four competitors, HDS, Matt Miller, J-Boy, Kaze, were able to do pocket picks in this last pool of 4. It's a point-based tally, so all 4 players are playing the same 4 charts. And the ones they chose, J-Boy chose Gloria D25, Kaze chose Ultimatum S25, Matt Miller chose Indestructible D25, and HDS, of course HDS, would choose Paradox D28. So we are coming to the tail end here as Kaze will put down their scores. Starting instead with Indestructible D25.
So interestingly enough, he's actually doing things in a different order from the other
Yeah.
players. We're starting with Indestructible. The other players started with Ultimatum to get the singles out of the way. Kaze probably thinks that this is using it as a warm-up to springboard into the other since it's the slowest song.
Being a bracket master, I suppose so. I'm excited to see this.
I am very excited as well. No problem so far. Managed to handle the intro very well. Let's see how he handles the first rolling bracket run. Handles it mostly pretty cleanly, just a couple
Scattered
bads and misses.
1 miss, two or three bads and a miss.
Gets his little bit of break right here before the next section. Now, Kaze is a bracket master, so he's probably going to be a little bit more comfortable going into the whipping back and forth section coming up.
You know, perhaps Kaze's game plan is to be as fresh as possible for Indestructible because that's the one that the other players left the most points on the table for.
Yeah, he might want to get the advantage here. He's looking a lot better, not dropping these holds.
Score to beat really quickly is 966 by Matt Miller to be first place on this.
Oh, he's looking very clean. It's been very good so far. A lot less mistakes. He's been looking good. It's going to come down to this very last rolling bracket run here. Overall, pretty clean. Maybe not as clean as the other players on the very last one, but a lot of the middle was a lot more solid.
Yeah, you saw some scattered goods and greats and a few, like the combo
A
breaks, but a
9.56
9.56 is the final.
It looks like maybe the added misses just ended up racking up too much. But it still puts him in third place for the song.
that one.
So he's still going to get a few points.
I'm very curious to see what the next of the set will be. It's got to be a toss-up between Glory and Ultimatum. Maybe Ultimatum and then Gloria as quote-unquote rest into Paradox 28.
It's possible. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go
Yeah,
Ultimatum next.
Level 14. Level to level rise.
Ultimatum S25, so the score is put down by HDS was a 962, Matt Miller was a 944, and J-Boy was an 896. And we can see the PB by Kaze on screen is a 957. And earlier today had a 919 though. A little bit of fatigue is what I recall. but overall higher accuracy than I'm Drake, which helped him to secure a spot for the top 4. So we'll see if he, I guess, 3 milestones for him. One is if he can beat his today's personal best of 9:19. Second, if he beats his own personal best of 9:57. And third, if he can beat HDS's personal best, or today's best of 9:62 to secure him first place spot.
Yeah, Kaze definitely trying to get his rest in. Having a little bit of...
Seems pretty lively.
Yeah, having a little bit of banter with Matt Miller off to the side.
There we go. He's hyped. He's ready.
He wants to bring the hype. We love to see the hype.
He is so ready.
Kaze actually choosing to read this at a faster speed than I normally see him play at. Usually he reads just like slightly slower, but looking like a little bit faster here. Probably wants to spread things out, especially with it being mostly straight. Overall looking very solid on these 12s. Great pattern manipulation, combos through it, and it gets almost all perfect.
Ending. Excellent
So
job.
getting a very good start here. This is going to be his only break until he gets into the 32 measure run. Yeah, reminder that this song is 203 BPM. That's going to be a long haul to the end, and a very stressful haul at that. Struggles a little bit on the rolling bracket right there.
This was his protect, or his pocket pick.
Actually turns
Oh,
those.
he turns those.
Gets a few extra points off of that. He just has to make sure he doesn't gas out, but he's looking pretty good so far. Hitting the brackets cleanly. Now into 16 more measures of run.
It's looking much more solid than his attempt versus I'm Drake, which he still took the lead on. We're going to see if he can keep it up.
8 more measures right here, getting through the jump spam. Actually looking pretty clean through that. Rolling brackets coming in right here. Drops one of the rolling brackets a little bit.
Important, crucial rolling drill sections.
And into the final slowdown, speed up and slow down again. Actually doing a pretty good job keeping good accuracy on that.
I like to see this.
That's good.
That's good, that's good. That has to be higher than his score from earlier today. That has to be higher than the 9:19 he performed on earlier. But let's see where he stands.
And with that, it's going to be a 9.43.
That is 1,000 points shy of Matt Miller's second place score.
Not even. It was a 9.439 versus 9.4139. So this was a 200 point difference. 200 point difference between him and Matt Miller, just barely cutting short on Matt's score.
Oh man.
Definitely keeping us on the edge of our toes.
Wow, that's incredible. A new PB for today. Not a PB on his card. I think it was like a 9.57 that he had, but certainly a very, very, very strong score. Excellent job. That certainly would have been higher than Matt Miller's if that one part during the bracket drill starting crossed over on the left into red, yellow, red, into right side of the pad.
Yeah,
I think it was the red, yellow, red. He didn't quite find it and got a few bad chain of 4 or so, or missed chain of 4.
Yeah, it's just one of those very rare instances where a small mistake actually does end up coming to bite you because it changed into something else.
It's such a minuscule moment, and there's so many of those that we can pinpoint, right, when it's such a close margin, but I think that was the big difference maker. Very critical point of the chart, just not quite finding the red, yellow, red transition after uncrossing from the left side of the pad. But it looks like we might see a little interlude with Gloria D25. It's very funny to say.
Yeah, when your break is a 245 BPM 16th run,
Yeah.
you can see where the level of the competitor is.
Online matching. Difficulty zone double level 17.
Thanks to those of you sticking around in chat as we finish up here. We love to see you guys. You know, we're happy to be here too. It's been, as a reminder, we had 60 competitors at the very start of this tourney to funnel into one person to get into a pro bracket of top 12 double elimination into our now top 4 showcase.
I do
where-
want to shout out our top 4 because the last time we had the event, that top 4, we actually have a completely different top 4 this time. It's good to see some fresh blood really pushing
Really?
in.
Who was the top 4 that you
It
recall?
was me, Happy Feet, John Tran, and Joker, if I remember right. I believe those are top 4 for last event. So we're getting some fresh blood in here for this top 4.
Yeah.
It's good to see.
J-Boy, the fresh blood player.
J-Boy's definitely looking a lot happier from previous events. So
I'm very happy to see him play. All of the competitors. I mean,
yeah, all of them been pushing real hard. Like they definitely put in some big work on the qualifiers to make sure they had a good spot in the waterfall tournament. And then they definitely had to work in order to get to this Final Four, and they have definitely earned it.
yeah, and J-Kim brings up a good point as well. Shout outs to our contestants from earlier today as well, to Tonium and Drake. Put down amazing scores on the 24s and 25 charts. There are so many words I can say about all the things that we've witnessed here today, but I'm at a loss for words as we get into Gloria D25 and Paradox D28 to end things off. Like really high level of competitors, high level of play, lots of years and time spent on the Pump It Up pads to get here. Those of you watching at home, I hope you're inspired. I hope you're eager to go to your arcades and play and try your hand at some of these charts, or maybe slightly easier ones if you're not quite there yet. But please just keep pushing your personal milestones. Take care of yourselves, stretch, drink water, and just have fun. It's the most important. That's why we're all here today.
I want to follow up on milestones. Make sure you have both short-term and long-term ones.
Yes.
That really keeps things fresh and in
Yes.
perspective. Because some things will take a while.
Yes. It's very easy to set a far-reaching goal and to get frustrated, not feeling like you're making any progress. But if you have rungs of a ladder to really build to that point, you'll be very happy. Progression comes in many forms. It's not just stage passing new charts. Phoenix, I think, did a great job at least introducing letter grade system that's not just, oh, a blue A. Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely an improvement in that regard. Being able to like really track your progress with the scores now being normalized to 1 million.
Yeah. So a lot of milestones to be had. Please, just keep pushing and keep playing. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Taking a long, well-deserved rest getting into Gloria D25. Kind of surveying the crowd, getting the countdown. A lot of love for Kaze from the crowd.
I think Kaze's not going to have any problems with the middle bracket section, knowing his technique.
Yeah.
It's really going to be more just making sure he doesn't have early mistakes and pushing the 245 BPM run for
No! You said the
first.
thing.
I said the thing. I did the thing. Hey, I've been in marathons before. I'm allowed to get at least one freebie. Still
Excellent
looking very
recovery
good.
though, yep.
Yeah, Kaze looking still very solid right here. No problems handling this middle break section.
One thing I find interesting about this pattern in particular is that the reaches on the outside edges of the panel are so short, you don't really transfer your whole body weight. You kind of just stretch your leg out to reach into them. So like a subtle nuance, but it can save a little bit of energy.
It really comes into play with Kaze, because Kaze is a decent amount shorter than our other competitors, aside from HDS, so.
Nice job locking in. I think he was the only one to get perfects on that drill. The others getting great chains or worse. But through the technical section, very strong. A few combo breaks as we saw in the other competitors.
My prediction is that he'll probably go for a pattern manip strat on the run coming up. We're going to see what happens right here with this long run. Oh, he's going to actually run it. The players have actually been wanting to run it.
Yeah, but he goes for the quad matching.
Surprisingly, he did not drop any life bar at all until like the very
excellent.
end of that. It was a good, strong finish.
Yeah, I think most similar to, I want to say, Matt Miller's play, where he starts off
9.62.
straight ahead.
That's a great
9.62.
score. That's still a great score.
Up score on event mode. Yes.
Definitely,
he's happy.
Yeah, definitely
He's
getting that
so
hype,
happy.
channeling that hype there.
So happy. I love to see that. A bit of a recap very quickly as we swipe in for Paradox D28. For the run section, he did a very excellent job starting with face forward running, going into when it starts to become twisty in the center 6, right? He opts to, instead of twisting where you're facing left, he pattern manips as brackets where you're kind of quad triplet rhythm facing towards the right. And then when the pattern kind of sweeps over to player 2 side but still in the center 6, flipping directions and kind of quad matching or quad triplet running in that regard. So, and then of course, by the time it kind of unwraps itself onto the player 2 side, really just opting to do a bit more shuffling. You can't really do as much bracket manipulations there. But during the Yogg staircase, kind of going back at the very outro, he did do some pattern manipulating to find his way over to the player 1 side of the pad, going into the final hold. And it shows. That's why he was able to clear it with such a strong life bar, 962. Excellent, excellent, excellent job. It would have been even higher if he didn't have the commentator's curse from earlier. So
I take no responsibility
absolutely
anymore.
no.
It's my stream. I say no responsibility.
I mean that in the way that it's so commendable how well he performed on the end run. Because some points were lost in the intro, and some points were lost on the technical, but that end run looked very solid. Excellent, excellent job. Now that he's had a little bit of time to warm up his legs and stretch a bit, can finish things off for the day and for the tournament with Paradox D28. It's been such a very long and hard-fought weekend, and we've come down to the very last. And what way can you finish off a tournament than one of the one and only D28s?
Does anybody actually want to do this?
In case you couldn't hear him, he screamed into the microphone, "Why? Just why?"
If I get hurt, I'm suing.
We take no responsibility for player injuries. Please be responsible. Disclosure. He's mentally prepping himself. If it's not obvious from the stream cam. I'm excited. He's excited. We just need the energy to push through. Most important, right, is making it to the end of the chart. That's all you need to do when you're playing Paradox D28 in a tournament setting. The worst thing you can do is just get misses.
Rick, what should I aim? 90.
Which is simple to say, but
For 80.
when you have to play such demanding patterns from the start to the end.
This is the last Saga Pump. I need y'all to count down with me. 3,
2, 1, pump! Got the send-off to send us for the end of the tourney. Oh, so quick reminder to answer the question in chat. RNG pick for Paradox D28, that is not true. These were all pocket picks by all 4 players. J-Boy protected, or chose, they were allowed to choose from 25 and higher. J-Boy chose Gloria D25 as a gracious pick of rest. Kaze chose Ultimatum S25. Matt Miller chose Indestructible D25. And HDS, loving the hard stuff and showboating and everything that comes with tournament play and the intensity required.
He picked this.
He picked this.
He picked this.
Not to beat around the bush. He
Yeah.
picked this.
Yeah. So Kaze really just he's screaming as he starts this song, and I don't blame him. He's gonna push it. He's gonna give it a all. He had a target that he wanted to be. He's gonna try and match that target.
What's the target?
I have no idea. I can't hear from here.
All right, all right.
Looks like he does want to try and at least beat HDS's
Yeah.
score of 911.
911.
Oh, having a
but
little bit of trouble with the
a lot of
bracket
minutes
the
changed
bracket
there.
stomps there. Yeah, getting through the rolling bracket section here has been very tricky for all our players, and Kaze having a little bit more trouble being very tired. It may not seem like those require a lot of energy, but the movement involved requires a lot, and he's
You have
definitely
to swing around.
he's definitely feeling having
Very,
to
very
play in
excessive.
2 tournaments at the same time.
Takes the dab break.
Takes the dab break.
He's having a good time. That's what we love to see. He gets the hops over.
Gets the hop.
Honestly, the combo is looking pretty solid.
That alone is a highlight.
Please clip that, please.
And into the final Yogg run right here. This is it. This is going to cap off our tournament here.
He was able to find the player one stable runs, but wow, going into these brackets, how do you adjust? He hits the important holds.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to miss that one.
Yep.
And into the last set of runs. Can he hold it out?
Last hold.
Holds that last quad hold to finish the tournament.
You can just kind of shake your head and kind of smile and laugh. He got it.
And with that, that completes our tournament. We have our results here. So, in terms of total points, J-Boy had 5 match points to finish in 4th. Kaze had 7 match points to finish in 3rd. Matt Miller with 14 points to come in 2nd. And that means HDS is our Big Deal 4 champion with 18 points.
HDS showing that these charts are his bread and butter. He loves the high level stuff, and all competitors throughout this entire tournament pushing their strengths, having to work on their weaknesses. They really came and delivered this weekend. So we're gonna get a nice shot of their little backs and a little dab view.
A little more
Kaze.
dabbing from Kaze.
Yeah. As we get all of our competitors on here, and a little bit of shout out from the TOs. As they kind of give a little victor ceremony here. I want to give a quick shout out also to Tan, who's in the black shirt at the top left of the player camera, and Johnny Pop, also in the top left. They have been very, and also Grant in the right, tourney organizers for this tournament. They've done an excellent job organizing this tournament, gathering interest for it, making sure the players, can show up and deliver, giving maintenance to the pads as they need it, and really just keeping this tournament cruising along from start to finish. From a logistics standpoint, I behind the scenes, I just have to give a very quick shout out to a lot of the work that Tan, Jelly Slosh, and Funk Hoppy, Jonathan, they've been running around and like machines just coming through and powering through these matches, doing the card draws. It's been a very mad dash, and the coordination has just been impeccable.
Big also double shout out to Domi Game for organizing the women's non-binary event. We always love to see those at our events and just have like these really fun inclusive events.
Yes, that was awesome. Seeing Shinobi's run in women's non-binary was incredible.
And with that, y'all, as they hand out all these rewards, I think that's going to do it for Big Deal 4. Pump it up. Thank y'all. Thank you, Tusa, for joining me with this, especially filling in last minute for today.
No, I'm very excited and happy I could commentate for these. It's such a commentating for those of you interested in not only participating in your tournaments, local or big scale. It's one thing to be a competitor, or one thing to be a viewer. It's another to be a competitor. It's another to be kind of behind the scenes or really engaged in the process of the tournament. And I love being here on the scenes. I want to give a big shout out to you as well. You have been so nice and friendly to me, even though we finally just met in person basically today, minus a chance interaction 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I want to give my own personal shout outs to everyone involved with this. The Big Deal staff, Round 1 staff especially, hosting us, everybody who came in involved. It's been a big effort to get everything going, and it is a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it in the end to keep this community running.
Yeah. Shout outs to Red Note Arcade and Mosaic Paw Print Store as well for making this possible as well, sponsoring these tournaments. We have some swag handed out for our winners. You can see them holding it up. Got some posters out there. T-shirt as well, I believe. Mouse pad as well. Official Phoenix merchandise. The good stuff.
Yeah, and our photographer's getting them all ready here. I'm going to see if I can get them to face the camera real quick.
Yeah, please do. We'll get them on there for you guys. Yeah, and thanks for the love in chat. Thanks for the love in chat. We've had a lot of fun. A lot of fun being here, guiding you guys through the tournament. We hope we did a good job. Yeah, say hi to the camera. Those are our top 4 finalists making it through. A gauntlet
That was
of a
about as
set.
good as you're going to get.
Yeah. No, it looked great on stream. It was great.
Anyways, that's going to be it for Pump. Thank y'all. I'm going to send y'all over to PsychoFizz so you can watch the rest of the DDR tournament. You do not want to miss those finals. And I have to tear down the Pump stream, so we're going to get this going here.
Tucson Zelo signing off.
See y'all later. Thanks for watching, everyone. See y'all next big deal.